My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. See thepatternofconduct.wordpress.com.
This is a demon pacing back and forth on a scooter with a spotlight. This is a demon. Demons stalk in the path. They engage in pacing with light activity. This is demonic activity, and this is the Ontario Police. This is criminal monitoring. This is terrorism that the Ontario Police Department is going to be prosecuted for, and the people of the state. This is also impunity while the entity is physically attacking me, and ongoing stalking remains underway. Directly relevant. That is a demon that you're looking at. That's literally what that I want to capture video so you can see that. That was a demon on a scooter moving in relevant position. This is directed light that's already here. That demon was using light activity while they were pacing on a scooter back and forth and back and forth. You're looking at demonic activity. It's currently 12:07 a.m. It's, I believe it is Wednesday, June 8, 2022. This is the Ontario Museum of History and Arts. P.O.C. That's the people of the state. Those are the demons physically attacking me, touching me, okay? It's already terrorism while they're stalking in bathrooms, sitting around, for example, wherever I'm located, most of the time a library, and those demons are sitting around stalking. You know how they're stalking in light inside of the Ovid Family Community Library, Upland Public Library, Fontana Lewis Library, Chino Branch Library? The demon-possessed entity that is Satan itself is keeping directed light inside of the venue. So they're pacing all around, walking all around, acting like they're normal. They're a bunch of demons pacing. What you're looking at outside at nightfall, a demon pacing with flashing light. Oops. (1545837) Omnitrans, bus 2360. The employee displayed is 3072. It's a Latino male. And engaging in ongoing molestation with the people of the state who are on the bus engaging in that sex offense. This is the same entity engaging in what is physically attacking you and engaging in what is ongoing sexual violation of your person while they are obsessively stalking, engaging in demonic activity together. This is Omnitrans Route 83, where the fake sun remains over me as I am in the city of Upland. As you recall, yesterday I remained in Ontario, coming from the museum to the B&G Plaza. And at that location, I'm reminding you about what is not over some B&G Plaza, where I'm documenting the demons that are stalking with the Ontario International Airport that's flying over the B&G Plaza, and the fake sun is right over my head at that B&G Plaza. It is not over any direction, over any location, certainly not the bus stop where I've customarily gotten off of Route 83, subject to the same harassment and terrorism, criminal monitoring, group stalking, and molestation of my person. But you have what is the fake sun that's in a distinctly different location while maintaining a perfect zenith in alignment with me, where it remains until I exit the Upland Public Library in the evening. I've documented this. All right, license plate 88TF540, 8YIE904, 8SBA156, 7WGR137, 8KYT364, 7FDY821, 8DSN668, 8M00527, 6LIS 515, 7ADB053, 8UVY144, 5SSZ 763, 6PXW405, and this is 7-Eleven at what is 204 North Euclid Avenue. License 8LVD151. It's 7:48 a.m. 7VJN049, 8XET911. 8KZH138, 7NPBO87, 8S12787, 8KUB457, 5V19005. 68936G1. These are license plates on surveillance cameras at the 7-Eleven at 204 North Euclid Avenue. It's 7:53 a.m. and I completed a purchase on surveillance cameras inside of that venue as well. And the entity moves an entire environment and remains over me. This is demonic, not just criminal, it's demonic. This is prosecution for ongoing terrorism. License 8XRC225. I don't see their license, but Visser Bus Services crossing path 9AHU460. Let's see, 7A77 782. It's 7:53 a.m. YRV545 and kitchen exhaust systems, air cleaning equipped. The company is called ACT, Air Cleaning Technology. Contractor's license 761220, and the license plate 04068V2. Molesting 03354T2. Mission, linen, and service. That's a sex offender. It's a demon engaging in what is, as a company, physically assaulting me and molesting me with this demon. With the employee 3072 displayed, and with knowledge, all of these demons are aware that their criminal activity and their demented conduct is being documented, and they're doing so under the fake sun as I'm capturing images at 4th Street and Euclid Avenue. This is coming from Upland, 9864OF1, 8KMF180. Let's see, mission linen is US.000126115. Directed light on the passenger side of that truck while they're monitoring. It's a demon that's crossing path. That's why that impossible light is present. That's an act of terrorism by a company. All right. Terrorism is substantial grounds, state surveillance, substantial grounds to dissolve the people of the state that use companies to engage in the P.O.C. I'm laughing because this minion's pounding on the brakes. This is how they engage in what is harassment. SINTAS, license 17349C2. Satan is petty. Satan's also a sex offender who I'm going to prosecute. All right, that's what's driving this bus. It is 8:01 a.m. YAE423.
Requested.
6VWB114, 9ATV215, 4SM9013, 6YTB229, 73202G1. They're all molesting. This one molesting with a child in the vehicle. License plate, engaging in sexual violence with a child, 6NRA319. That's sexual violence and terrorism. 5VCF962, 64579U2. Excuse me, thank you. Is 3072 your actual employee number, or is that an error? It's an error? It said 3072 is the employee number, is that correct? Oh, okay, thank you. It's 8:04 a.m. License plate. This is an entity that stating that the employee number displayed is accurate. License 1545837 by driving bus 2360. It's a Latino male. It is 8:04 a.m. For RDA 696. 8 HPR 472. 6JZF154-18009V2, 6ZNE632, V615XL, 7XPX061, 8TZF181. First of all, I captured images of what is the fake sun directly over me as I'm in the city of Upland. At the same time yesterday, I was at the B&G Plaza, at specifically Shiro's Liquor, where the entity is keeping the fake sun over that liquor store. And the entity kept that fake sun over that plaza specifically for over 2 hours. Over 2 hours, because I remained there after 10 a.m. I was there before 8 o'clock. So the entity's fake sun is remaining stationary. It's not going anywhere, and it's remaining in perfect placement and in alignment with me. What I'm showing you, first of all, is you're paying attention. This is what I've stated is the pattern of conduct. Not only is this speaking to, again, that's that mutual zenith, that's an angle of analysis, witnessing stalking with a light source, stalking with an entirely unnatural environment. This is indeed appropriately referred to as the fake sun. But also the analysis of what the entity is doing, the method, and how the entity is in keeping a fake sun. And all you're looking at now, while I'm on Euclid Avenue, and I am facing what is the direction east on the on the side of Euclid Avenue that is headed south. So I'm on the south side of Euclid Avenue, or the side of Euclid Avenue where traffic is headed south. 7ZCY815, 5KYB190. 8VJW152, 8KLS395, 34393V2, 8VRN687. The entity is keeping the fake sun in a position as though it appears as though it's and I'm using distance very loosely because it's not appearing at a distance. It's appearing at a distance away from me, which is supposed to appear different than what it's doing. We'll say maybe 2 hours from now, where the entity places it at the top of my head and keeps it at the top of my head. And so this is creating the illusion that the sun is at a distance rising. And you're looking at it based on what is a location where I've shown you the placement of the fake sun. First of all, this is understanding what is stalking with the fake sun and what is the demonic conduct of the maintenance of a light source in the sky, showing you, revealing to you, as a matter, without a shadow of a doubt, what are demons who are in that environment, and they're also engaged in criminal conduct. They're placing you under surveillance. It's an entirely unnatural environment. It is a scientific impossibility. And how you're witnessing that, and this is clear, it's vivid, where I'm at a venue where you know what the entity is doing with the fake sun, as I've been here at all times of the day, right? So in the morning, while I'm on the opposite side of Euclid Avenue, the entity's fake sun is appearing at a quote-unquote loose distance. It's not at a distance. It's actually still very close. It's in alignment with my face. The entity on that side of the street, which is the parking garage of the Ovid Family Community Library, on the opposite side of the street, the entity's fake sun is in the same exact position it is at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's in the same position where it's looking as though it's at a distance, approaching, all right, as though it's rising, all right? It's not rising anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It's keeping in perfect alignment with me as I move. And so also you're looking at that because it's in the same position it is at where I am on that side of the street at the same location, the Ovid Family Community Library, the parking garage, which you see in those pictures, where the fake sun is in the same exact position as I stand at that location where you see the fake sun over that general area. The fake sun's in the same position as I stand there, and it's directly over the top of my head. That is how you're witnessing the non-movement of the light source. While right now it's in alignment with what is my face. The entity is engaging, keeping the fake sun directly over the top of my head as I am standing in the direction where I'm taking a picture of. On the opposite side of that parking garage, right in front of the entrance of the Ovid Family Community Library, fake sun right over the top of my head. 7CKX067, 7YKX861, 7TKG161, 8BZM049, 8UEH473. That is federal prison. They're group stalking with the Ontario police, who are demons seeking to pose a threat while they are crossing path in your face. All right, they are all stalking with the police. This is group stalking, but the police arrive in a manner where you are witnessing their presence to communicate a threat. They know that you're documenting. This is an act of terrorism. While the people of the state are engaging in federal stalking with the police, you're talking about disbanding the police. You're talking about federal prison for the police. It's federal prison for the people of the state as well. They're directly engaged in that threat. 7TFL451. And that is indicated by the directed light conduct, the movement of the fake sun in a perfect alignment with you. This is the entity that's surrounded with that evidence of that ongoing conspiracy to place under surveillance. License, GTUPONY, 8SPJ473. Unlawful operation of a communication device crossing path, 8FPB502. It is 8:10 a.m. And so that's what you're looking at. The fake sun is in alignment. It's on the opposite side of the street. And this is the creation of an illusion. I've shown you what the entity does, especially as I remain, for example, at a bus stop, which I've shown you. Another very vivid illustration. I go to the bus stop and I'll show you the fake sun early in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 7 o'clock in the evening. And the fake sun is literally in alignment with my face early in the morning, as though it's at some distance and it's rising, but it's rising right over me. And in the afternoon, it's at the same bus stop, the same exact address, the same location, non-movement, the illusion, the fallacy of some movement of the light source as it's then at the same address and it's just at the top of my head. All right, and in the middle of the afternoon, and then you're talking about 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening, same exact bus stop, literally just on the opposite side of my person, in alignment with my face. That's what the entity is doing early in the morning. That's what you're paying attention to, as I took pictures of that. In addition to the fact that the entity kept the fake sun stationary over the Shiro's Liquor, over where the Ontario airport is using airplanes, and keeping on the south side of my person where that fake sun is, that's the ongoing pattern of conduct. They're stalking via aircrafts. They're stalking with the light source over me, DHC 88. And that's what you're looking at as I capture before I walk to the Ovid Family Community Library at approximately 10, 11, 10, 13 a.m. I capture these images, which are enlarged on my website, so you can see the fake sun is hovering over the top of my head. At 7:50, before 8 o'clock in the morning, I'm capturing images. The entity is keeping the fake sun in perfect alignment over me in the same way. It doing so as though it's approaching like the sun that we know, all right? But it's not like the sun that we know, because it's maintaining presence at the same address over the same person for the duration of the day, while engaging in what is the fallacy, and this is only effective if you are not paying attention, all right? And who is ordinarily going to question the environment anyway, right? But when you're subject to what is a pattern of conduct, these are things that you pay attention to. It's also very demonic. That's why it stands out. Those with the ability to witness, to notice that. So anyway, this is audible activity under the fake sun. This is West Coast Arborists, group stalking in Upland, California under the fake sun. They're group stalking at the Ovid Family Community Library under the fake sun. This is activity creation. West Coast Arborists, and this is called the impermissible threat. Remember in Upland, California, they were monitoring with the Upland Police Department, who was stalking me by helicopter. West Coast Arborist is in relevant position creating light activity. License 8L59283. I documented this already. License 87208P2. And this is a company engaging in state surveillance and terrorism, which is substantial grounds to remove that company from existence. Civilly and criminally prosecute, in addition to those specific actors engaging in that criminal conduct with the Ontario Police, who are in relevant position monitoring, while a fake sun remains over me and is nowhere near the B&G Plaza. All right, as I'm at the B&G Plaza, the fake sun is not even in the direction of the Ovid Family Community Library. It's nowhere on the opposite side of the street. It's remaining directly over the parking lot, the same location where the entity is concentrating plane activity. AJMA 110, a demon, directed light in the shade, pacing around, monitoring with West Coast Arborists, engaging in what is facilitation. All right, that's the opposite side of the same parking garage where I'm showing you the fake sun. And so, by the way, so as I cross the street and am at the parking garage area, am at the Ovid Family Community Library, the entity keeps the fake sun, and as I move in the direction which is east across the street, the fake sun remains in front of me, okay? During the day, you're looking at the fake sun that remains over the top of me, directly over my head. All right, and then you're talking about in the evening, doing the exact same thing, keeping it in front of me all day, from beginning to the end of day. This is demonic. This is the identification of what is demonic activity. What West Coast Arborists are engaging in is demonic activity. They're creating audible activity, and they are facilitating that ongoing environment. They are doing so with knowledge. This is absolutely unlawful conduct that a company is engaging in. It's another method of what is criminal monitoring, another method of presence, another method of activity creation, and doing so with knowledge. West Coast Arborists specifically documented capturing images of those third parties, group stalking with the Upland Police Department, who provided complete documentation for their prosecution, which represent nothing other than the people of the state. West Coast Arborists is the people of the state, and I can prosecute the rest of the people of the state with the criminal activity that West Coast Arborists engaged in. They are not cutting down trees. It's a specific purpose in that environment, which is activity creation, light activity creation. Criminal monitoring is underway, and ongoing state surveillance with the Upland Police, who flew over my head, flew in circles as I document it on podcast and in video. Okay, that's what West Coast Arborists is engaging in right now. Their group stalking, and that's terrorism, and that's also a demon-possessed entity that engaged in what is physically attacking me, and they are engaged in ongoing monitoring with the Ontario police, an impermissible threat on multiple grounds of federal prison. So like I said, it's currently 8:15 a.m. and that's just, first of all, a couple of things. You're looking at what is demonic. The sun is not over the B&G Plaza. The sun would not remain over the B&G Plaza for the duration of the day, which my documentation establishes. That same B&G Plaza, Shiro's liquor area, the entity's fake sun is directly over it, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, and the sun is also aiming into it in the evening as though the sun is also setting inside of that Shiro's liquor. That's the tactic of maintaining directed light. That's demonic. Shiro's liquor is a stalker. That's the identification of a group stalker. Group stalking is not about some individual's name. It's about a location. It's about any person or any method of presence on behalf of an entity. All right, so you're talking about what is an address where group stalking is underway. That address, that name of that business, that company, that particular plane, which is United Airlines, is a group stalker. Okay, they're not flying over B&G Plaza, just like they weren't yesterday. They remain on the south side of my person. They're remaining on the south side of my person under the fake sun. Right now, they're remaining on the south side of my person under the fake sun, which is nowhere near the B&G Plaza. It's in direct conflict with being anywhere near the direction of the Ovitt Family Community Library. As I remain there for over 2 hours, the fake sun is remaining over the top of my head after capturing it over the top of the Shiro's liquor, keeping in perfect alignment with me. It's never going anywhere advancing beyond B&G Plaza, but yet today when I go to Upland, California, it's right there over the 7-Eleven. And this is what you're not forgetting, because I've already surrounded the evidence with surrounded the entity with what is the evidence of stalking within an unnatural environment, stalking with an unnatural environment, which is demonic. And then those demons engage in what is physically attacking you, and that's how you are also prosecuting this entity that is engaging in nothing other than what is group stalking conduct with a demon-possessed agency. In Ontario, it is the Ontario Police Department. In Upland, it is the Upland Police Department. Both of whom are engaged in a documented pattern of terrorism, stalking by helicopters, following me around day and night in the city of Upland with helicopters, following me around day and night in the city of Ontario with helicopters, and doing so for a term of years, by the way. I documented the Upland Police Department, if you'll recall, when I went to Walmart and all of a sudden the sun is over Walmart at the entrance in Upland, California at 11:36 in the morning. How is that fitting into the schedule of where the sun is? When I'm here at the Ovitt Family Community Library yesterday, the entity kept the fake sun over the Ovitt Family Community Library all day. And you know why? Because I didn't leave the Ovitt Family Community Library. The actual sun would not remain over the Ovitt Family Community Library. It also would not remain over the Ovitt Family Community Library when it's supposedly rising over the B&G Plaza, and then on the opposite side of Hope Boulevard at C Street, where the Ovitt Family Community Library is, then the sun is remaining there, even setting. This is what I'm capturing at 6:41 p.m. No, that's not the sun. All right, you're looking at and you are vividly witnessing, you're witnessing vivid illustrations of that, which is the most powerful, which is what I continuously have published, because I want you need to see with your own eyes, Satan. You need to see it. And it is capturing the impossible. You're looking at what is the sun. As I'm showing you the same address, you're looking at the same location where it's on an opposite side of the same street, 7 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the evening. You're capturing I've captured the demonic for you. You're witnessing it. And it is mind-blowing, because you're witnessing what is in conflict, in violation, it's not just in conflict. There is no reconciling what are supposedly scientific facts that surround the environment. And guess what? There is no reconciling your presence in that environment. It's speaking to what is public corruption. And the demon-possessed population, not just in California, because this is relevant to what's going on in the rest of the country. While the entity keeps the fake sun over me, it's documentation telling you about what's going on in the rest of the country. All right, but like I said, the entity is keeping a fake sun, and this is how public corruption is existing in plain sight, and you don't even know that it's underway. Okay, but when you start paying attention, and these demons are more and more threatened, they start engaging in what is telling their own secrets. That is directed light. The evidence of the demon-possessed actor who's placing under surveillance, the prosecution of the perpetual sex offender, who was then stalking in a bathroom. Okay, where demons have no business. Satan knows as you are pulling your panties down. Okay, and I'm saying it like that because that's how much you need to know how much of a sex offender they are. They have the audacity to stalk you. They're letting you know that they're stalking you with directed light, and then they're walking into the bathroom stalking you in their own little demented universe, where they want to act like they're not stalking you and trying to force you into that universe as well, where you have to act like they're not stalking you as well. That's a psychopath. That's a psychopath. That's what criminal summoning is about. That's what this harassment is about. These are psychopaths. Understand, I'm surrounding it. I'm making it I'm not making anything. All I'm doing is pointing out to you what it is that I am documenting. So in other words, I'm taking a picture, for example, of something, and I'm pointing out to you, I'm stating explicitly in words that you can understand what you're looking at when you're looking at that picture. With regard to the pattern of conduct, I'm explaining to you what is the pattern of conduct, and I'm explaining to you what it is that they're doing as I'm documenting what they do, because you need to understand. Let me make sure you understand what these demons are doing as they're doing it. They're psychopaths that want to act like, and they can't. They're surrounded with evidence. So you're a psychopath in that regard. You're a psychopath that you still try to sit around and act like you're doing anything other than entirely demented group stalking conduct. Your entire operation is found out. You're talking about psychopaths flying around in helicopters, driving around in police vehicles and fire trucks and ambulances as well. And as though they have any legitimacy, they don't have any legitimacy. And they know it as well. That's a psychopath. They are seeking to force you, while they are in that demented universe, literally walking around waiting for their moment of expiration, which is going to occur in a federal court. That's literally what Satan is doing. And that's a psychopath that is engaging in what is conduct, seeking to still force you to engage in the same, as though they are not stalking you and everything about the evidence which exists, a matter of fact that they are indeed. Those are psychopaths that are sitting around that I'm taking pictures of in the library. Who are they? They're not persuading anybody. Those are psychopaths. And so let me remind you of all the video that I captured last night and this morning before I stepped inside of this venue, whatever venue that happens to be. And so I'm referencing, I'm here at the OVIT. So let's not forget what's going on when I'm outside. All manner of hell underway. Stalking with planes and helicopters, stalking with what is directed light all over the place. All of this is entirely unnatural. It's a well-documented pattern. And then you walk inside as though that's going to stop. It's not stopping. And they're also sitting around acting like they're not stalking you in directed light. Psychopaths. These are the people of the state who are using companies who are you're going to dissolve those companies. They cease from existence. You prosecute civilly and criminally. They cease from existence. Substantial evidence is terrorism and state surveillance. You don't have a right to exist and form a company in order to engage in criminal conduct with the state. And that's what you're doing when you're engaged in the pattern of conduct. That is not a right underneath the Constitution. That's not a part of any capitalistic society. That has nothing to do with that. And you don't have a right to exist for that. So I want to be clear on that. And it's the same with the law enforcement agencies, the fire departments, etc. You're going to remove them from existence, obviously disbanding, remove a federal prison. That's another method of removal. But that's how you're literally engaging in what is an extermination. Because the demon-possessed population, it's akin to what is a cockroach issue. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands. All right. And I'm just in Southern California. I'm blowing the whistle on something that's going on in the state of California. Okay, in the state of California, you pay attention to what's going on in Northern California, where they have supposedly a sun over them. This is speaking to the same exact environment. This is the same exact pattern of conduct. It's demonic activity, which is underway in the state of California. Okay, but like I said, it's currently 8:23 a.m. and the entity's keeping the fake sun over the side of the side of the Ovid Family Community Library, whereas yesterday as I remain and I'm capturing images of these demons that are engaging in surveillance in the parking lot. They're pacing all around me in traffic. This is evidence against the entity, everyone that I name engaging in assault and battery, and they're still stalking and monitoring. Not only is that environment revealed, even on the next day where I'm showing you that was not the sun that they were stalking under. All right, and they're stalking after physically attacking, and they know that they're being documented based on the nature of their crime. They're monitoring, all right, and the entity is engaging in what is this ongoing pattern of conduct where the fake sun in the position, and I'm showing you it's remaining over my head on that side of the street where I'm at at the B&G Plaza. It's not over the direction of the Ontario Town Square Townhomes. It's not even on that side of the street. It's not in this direction. There is no vantage point where it's capturing it. So in other words, it's not at the same time over the side of the Ovid Family Community Library, and it's also hovering and remaining over me for the duration of time. And then also as I then walk to the Ovid Family Community Library, it's remaining perpetually over both address, and that's what's necessarily the case. I'm referencing what's impossible. It's not perpetually over both addresses or the totality of the addresses at all at the same time, because first of all, I am clearly at a distinct location, and the fake sun is remaining specifically over my head as I am en route from one location to another. Second of all, I am also thorough enough to show you what is the direction of the building where I'm headed, the direction of the building where I was located, the maintenance of the light source while I'm en route between two. You're looking at what is very distinct movement, necessarily movement. Thirdly, you have what is the entity that keeps the fake sun at both addresses for the duration of the day, witnessing again the impossible. The sun is not remaining over the B&G Plaza all day long. It's not going to be present at 7 in the morning and also setting, aiming any sort of sunlight into that same venue at 7 in the evening, capturing what's supposedly the same fake sun in alignment with my face at 5, 6 o'clock in the evening, which is published documentation. That's not the sun. It's a pattern of stalking with light, engineered light. It's the same with the Open Family Community Library. And I'm just using those as an example because I'm in Ontario, and this is where the entity is stalking. So you have the entity doing the same thing in every city where I've gone, and I'm documenting what is the environment where an entity is engaging in what is a matter of public corruption, and it is properly referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring. All right, and so what you're listening to is literally the criminal conduct of West Coast arborists. Okay, stalking in Upland, following me to the city of Ontario to continue stalking. Evidence of them engaging in terrorism with the Upland Police Department. This is terrorism with the Ontario Police Department. It is currently 8:25 a.m. and this is P.O.C. And that is the demon-possessed Ontario Police Department. I captured them in a still image. They're flying in a circle around me, right over here. And they're anticipating my capturing the image of the fake sun over me. That's what the Ontario Police Department is doing. What you'll pay attention to is I stood over here earlier. The fake sun is right over here in this building. You'll see a demon because he's wearing a hard hat. That's a demon in precise alignment with me as I took a picture of the fake sun over me as I come from Upland, California, getting off the bus, not going near the B&G Plaza today. The fake sun is over me at 10 o'clock as I captured at the B&G Plaza in a picture. I remain at the B&G Plaza at 10 o'clock right now, yesterday, 24 hours ago, where the entity was also stalking by helicopter. This is the pattern. This is the evidence it gives to the Open Family Community Library. They're demons that are engaging in group stalking on the inside. Every employee, the Ontario Police Department is working at the Open Family Community Library. The Ontario Police Department is cutting down trees. That's the prosecution of West Coast arborists. The police department is pacing in the C Street turn circle. Demon-possessed criminal monitoring under what is the fake sun. This is Open Family Community Library, who are also sex offenders. This is the Ontario Police that enters inside of the bathroom. The Ontario Police are demon-possessed. The people of the state are demon-possessed. The entity that is the Open Family Community Library, I'm pointing in here because they're in relevant position monitoring inside while the Ontario Police flies over. That's the Ontario Police Department group stalking. This is the fake sun that is the direct evidence of that unnatural environment. The entity is keeping the fake sun over the B&G Plaza squarely over my head while I'm documenting the Sheriff's Department, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, the Fontana Police Department, and the Ontario Police Department, who are pacing around me while that fake sun is over my head over the B&G Plaza, while the Ontario International Airport is pacing above me in the same way that you see the Ontario Police Department in a helicopter, where the entity is keeping the fake sun over the B&G Plaza. Okay, this is P.O.C. It's currently 10:02 a.m. where the fake sun is over the side of the Open Family Community Library. Remember on Sunday where I remain here exiting the library, it's over the entrance at 4 p.m. The entity's keeping the fake sun right here over me. This is not the sun. It's also not over the B&G Plaza. I capture in pictures, I walk over here, and I'm showing you the fake sun that's over that senior center. That's based on the direction that I walk through the parking lot, the Ontario City Hall, a criminal establishment. Demons fill the Ontario City Hall, engaged in criminal monitoring, and they're doing so with the Ontario Police. That's a prosecution of every single last one of them. This is a prosecution of an entity. That's what I'm showing you the evidence of. That's why the light source, which is not possibly the sun, is present. And documentation showing the entity keeping the fake sun. This is the same walkway, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's not the sun. That would be present. Aiming directed light across this building, captured all of that. That's P.O.C. That's the Ontario Police that knows that what I'm documenting. And why would you provide evidence against this is asininity, literally, while you're being prosecuted. Not just asininity with your pattern of conduct, as I'm sure. Asininity of providing documentation that you're stalking in the bathroom, that you're stalking amongst the people of the state, while you know that I'm about to capture a picture of the fake sun over my head at 10 o'clock in the morning. Pay attention, people. Federal government, pay attention. This is federal prison. This is what I'm speaking to. They're going to federal prison. They're going to sit in mental institutions. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, capturing a picture which the demon-possessed entity that is monitoring my documentation. Again, that's impunity. All right, and that's how do you know that the entity is anticipating it? Because they are stalking at 10 o'clock on the dot. They know what I took pictures of yesterday, the fake sun over me at the B&G Plaza. It remains over me today as I went to Upland, and this is documentation for those who I said they're going to federal prison, and that's exactly where they're going, while the entity is engaging in keeping a fake sun over me as I went to Upland, California yesterday, an impossible occurrence, while the entity is keeping a fake sun stationary over the Shiro's Liquor, over my head, well until well after 10 a.m. Today I went to Upland, came back to Ontario, did not go to the B&G Plaza, not even in the direction of what would be the ability to capture the sun, even in the direction which would be across the street from
B&G Plaza while the entity kept that fake sun, as I already explained. So as I come from Upland and remain at the Ovid Family Community Library, minions such as Stephen, he is sitting at a desk in relevant position, group stalking inside. Stephen represents the Ontario Police Department, who Stephen has also engaged in what is criminal summoning on multiple occasions. Stephen's going to federal prison. Stephen is a very violent sex offender, and while the Ontario Police Department provided evidence against Stephen, which I don't need because I have Stephen engaging in what is years of what is a sex offense, monitoring me while my panties are down, stalking me in the bathroom, molesting my body with what is directed light, while he's engaged in Title 18 criminal monitoring conduct with the Ontario Police, who literally just flew over my head at 10 o'clock in the morning under what is a light source that is not possibly the sun, revealing both Stephen's demon possession, his criminal conduct, and the act of terrorism, which he's also going to be prosecuted for. The entity is keeping the fake sun at 10 o'clock in the morning over the same side of the Ovid Family Community Library. And this is speaking to what is mutually exclusive while the entity is still at this time. Remember, I'm capturing the Ontario Police Department group stalking on Holt Boulevard yesterday at after it's approximately like 10:13, 10:15. It's around this time. It's captured in still images on my website. Because I remain at the B&G Plaza and then I walk to the Ovid Family Community Library and I'm capturing the fake sun over the senior center. I'm facing the senior center right now. The sun is not going to move to be present over some vantage point over that building, which I'm facing in this video after the Ontario Police fly over my head by helicopter. And then you're also paying attention to what is the same side walkway where the entity is keeping the fake sun after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, as I documented on Sunday. What you're paying attention to are the demon possessed, because that's who's sitting underneath the side walkway. That's who is inside of the Ovid Family Community Library. That's who's cutting down trees, West Coast arborists. That's who's engaging in what is pacing around, driving around the building, working in Wells Fargo in relevant position. It doesn't matter what those demons' jobs are. It doesn't matter what the name of that building is. This is demonic activity that I'm revealing to you. And it's a criminal system. This is public corruption. And it is prefaced by that environment that is underway as I go to, again, just to give you a vivid illustration, look at a map and see where B&G Plaza is. First of all, the sun would not be, as I already stated, this is not the sun under any circumstances, both as I analyze it, just remaining at the B&G Plaza. The entity keeps the fake sun at that same B&G Plaza as though it's setting there. That's not the sun. Also, as you compare it with another venue, for example, the Ovid Family Community Library in the same city, that's not the sun that would remain across the street, essentially, from the B&G Plaza into the evening. It's also not the sun while I'm in an entirely different city, an entirely different county, and the entity is engaging in the same conduct of keeping the fake sun, but then what's happening when it's supposedly seen through the windows of the S.I.I.S liquor, aiming sunlight into that S.I.I.S liquor. That's not the sun. It's not the sun that's setting in the city of Fontana in alignment with me while you're filling that venue with light. But what about setting while I'm at the setting in alignment with me while also the entity is stalking by helicopter, just like it was this morning? And that's supposedly the sun at the Ovid Family Community Library. That's not the case. What you're looking at the Ontario Police Department engage in is the ongoing concession. This I have not only established as a matter of evidence, beyond a reasonable doubt, by the way, which exceeds the standards. I want to be clear what I've established. First of all, I have established, with regard to what is group stalking in and of itself, the established precedent, the fact that group stalking is a criminal conduct by a government. Second of all, the fact that it is in concert. This is a criminal conspiracy that's in existence amongst the people of the state, which is a group, an entity that is acting in concert with that state. And I have shown what is the environment that they're acting in, what is the criminal conduct that they are engaging in together, what is the demonic behavior that they are engaging in as one, identical. You're talking about what is the entity engaging in demonic behavior as, first of all, a government actor versus a third party. And it doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter what that identification of that actor is. It's the same identical conduct. And you're also engaged, and this is also, this conspiracy amongst the people of the state and the state is also existing through what are the criminal acts of obstruction of justice, such as criminal summoning. The entity is engaging in an ongoing criminal conspiracy to place another under surveillance and engage in what is terrorism, because that's what the demon possessed shall be prosecuted for, where they are engaging in what is, for example, what the Upland Public Library and the Ovid Family Community Library and the Fontana Lewis Library, this is a pattern, what the Woodside Senior Apartments, everywhere that I have heavily documented the entity not only stalking me by helicopter, stalking by the demon-possessed police agencies, stalking in the specific environment, fake sun over my head, the entity engages in that ongoing indication of a criminal conspiracy to place another under surveillance and terrorize them pursuant to their demonic conduct, where they are engaging in what are the criminal acts of obstruction of justice, such as criminal summoning. And this is the waging of false allegations. This is the waging of what is a criminal, well, it is criminal defamation, as I have termed it, but defamatory allegations while they are engaging in the pattern of conduct. You're engaging in defamation. It doesn't change, it does not change the fact it is something that you're going to hone in on. They're engaging in defamation under the fake sun amongst while an ongoing process of documentation is underway, while the entity is engaging at a pattern of conduct of group stalking, as I've shown it, and the entity engages in what is criminal summoning. This is for whatever city you're in. So at Woodside Senior Apartments, that's the Ontario Police Department that is in relevant position at that venue, summoning the Ontario Police Department, waging false allegations. This is the Ontario Police Department that is stalking you, that is then summoning itself to come and physically harass you, engaging in what is nothing other than, this is nothing other than Satan that's wearing a badge. Satan's just putting on a different hat. Satan is living at Woodside Senior Apartments, calling itself and understand what I'm doing right now. I'm combining both what is demonic activity, and I'm also giving you the legal analysis. But this is demonic activity. The demon-possessed live at Woodside Senior Apartments. They're engaging in what is criminal monitoring. Okay? They are doing so on behalf of the Ontario Police Department, who are heavily documented, engaging in what is concentrating, keeping a fake sun at that venue. Over Family Community Library, Stephen, for example, he's going to federal prison. This is criminal summoning. The entity is in keeping a fake sun over the Ontario Senior Woodside Senior Apartments, for example, and then while they are engaging in what is ongoing, I'm documenting this. This is a matter of objective evidence. The entity will then summon the Ontario police who are already stalking. Let me be clear. This is group stalking. This is vicarious presence. You're not present on in any individual capacity. So you're understanding what is this vicarious presence while the Ontario Police Department are living, in other words, because this is the legal analysis. The entity that's monitoring you is living in relevant position. It's group stalking conduct. It's in the specific environment. It's vicarious presence. And it's under what is the fake moon. It's under what is the fake sun during the day. It's amongst what is ongoing directed light, documented at Woodside Senior Apartments. The Ontario Police Department that are in relevant position at Woodside Senior Apartments has engaged in what is criminal summoning on multiple occasions. This is speaking to the ongoing criminal conspiracy, which is in existence amongst the people of the state and the entity itself, who you hear sounding planes and helicopter, as I captured on video, and the fire department. That's criminal summoning. All right. So like I said, the entity is engaging in what is, it's 10:11 a.m. I remained at the B&G Plaza yesterday, where the Ontario International Airport were keeping planes over that venue where the fake sun was directly above my head. This is where it's remaining here, where the Ontario International Airport are ushering planes over the 280 North Lemon Apartments, where the fake sun is. While the entity, that's Ontario International Airport, like I said, you're going to use the same exact template. They're engaged in criminal summoning. The criminal operation is going to mutually apply to every single last one. The Ontario International Airport's engaged in criminal conduct right now, as I documented, using planes to engage in what is criminal monitoring with the Ontario Police, providing evidence against the Ontario International Airport, while it flies over me at 10 o'clock under what is the light source that is not possibly the sun. Okay, that's speaking to the existence of an ongoing criminal conspiracy to place another under surveillance in that specific environment. So, like I said, I have in every way shown not only the pattern of conduct, the existence of what is that conspiracy amongst the people of the state and the state to place another under surveillance, which is the criminal system of group stalking, federal group stalking and monitoring precisely, because the demon-possessed, which is the system of group stalking, the demon-possessed engage in group stalking. They're engaged in what is federal stalking violation of existing federal law, which is why it is appropriately termed federal group stalking and monitoring. The demon-possessed are not just group stalking you because they're obsessed and they are of an inferior condition. They're group stalking you, they're placing you under surveillance. And the entity is doing this, Satan is doing this throughout the country, amongst other corrupt police departments, which the Ontario Police Department is providing it a template as to what is, it's fully exposed, okay? So this is how and why, not only is this a concession, you're talking about what is exceedingly foolish, not only for the prosecution of the Ontario Police Department, for the prosecution of the people. Okay, you're under the fake sun. You know that I'm about to capture a picture of it. How in the world? And now this is just the common sense, because I'm going to tell you there is no way that that's helpful, and the Ontario Police Department is not trying to be helpful while I'm capturing the fake sun. The Ontario Police Department is engaged in ongoing harassment and intimidation as a demon-possessed agency who was obsessively stalking and physically attacking me while I continue to expose their criminal conduct that they have been engaged in for years. All right, and while they've been engaged in this, they have been engaged in theft of my personal property. They stole my vehicle, which included everything that I owned in it. They did that in concert with the people of the state. Okay, they engaged in multiple acts of kidnapping me in concert with the people of the state. The people of the state shall serve time in federal prison for engaging in what are the repeated acts of kidnapping. Not only the demons who I documented while the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department had me in handcuffs and my body chain, and I was writing down license plates, they're going to federal prison for that. The sheriff's department, those deputies whose badge numbers, they're going to federal prison for that. In addition to disbanding that sheriff's department altogether. It's entirely illegitimate. All right, as you are also witnessing again, while they're stalking me under what is the fake sun as a matter of what is a scientific conclusion, while it remains over the side of the Ovitt Family Community Library, where Stephen is group stalking inside as the Ontario Police Department provides me evidence to place him into federal prison. That's where that violent sex offender belongs. All right, and that's where he is doing so with impunity, engaging in an ongoing, this is how the facts are working together, how you're prosecuting an entity, and you're using the criminal conduct by an entity against the entity, because they're acting together like any other conspiracy. This happens to be an extraordinarily elaborate criminal conspiracy, and you're going to prosecute accordingly. It's not going to change. All right, it is currently 10:15 a.m. The fake sun remains over me while I am coming from the B&G Plaza, and I don't arrive until after 10:23 a.m. is where I'm walking through the parking lot, and I'm capturing if the fake sun is right over me as I'm facing the senior center with my back to the apartment building where the Ontario International Airport is sending Southwest Airlines hovering over that apartment complex. All right, Southwest Airlines engaging in what is criminal summoning. All right, and with regard to the breakdown of that prosecution, you're talking about what is not only dissolving companies, ceasing from existence. Southwest Airlines is engaging in very specific criminal conduct. Their pattern is to remain on a specific side of my person in that specific environment, directed light. And under right now what is literally the fake sun that is remaining over the side of the Ovitt Family Community Library. But yesterday, when I'm at the B&G Plaza, it's remaining over my head while I'm en route to this location where I'm already present today. And that's why I'm capturing it at the 10:23 a.m. while I am not at the Ovitt Family Community Library. I have been at and remained at the B&G Plaza in that parking lot where the demon possessed, just like they are at the Ontario City Hall, employees walking out, they're demons that are pacing under the fake sun monitoring. And they're the demon possessed that fill the venue of the Ontario City Hall, a criminal establishment where a bunch of minions are waiting for the day that I'm going to prosecute them, all right, because I'm identifying them as an entity. They're all inside of that building, and that's how you are also understanding what is the ability to clump together. It's an address where the entity's engaging in what is criminal monitoring, and they're monitoring on a massive basis. And so the identification of that address is the Ontario City Hall. The fake sun is over my head where I'm at, and at a location where the entity is stalking by helicopter, stalking by planes who remain on a specific side of my person, while the entity is surrounding me with what are the demon possessed. It's the identification of their condition, and it is no exception. It is speaking to the ways in which you're going to literally exterminate the demons and also remove them from the positions that they have no business being in. Law enforcement, these aspects of the local government, that's what the Ontario City Hall is, entirely corrupt. They're criminally monitoring with the Ontario Police, who provided evidence against them flying over my head by helicopter. The Ontario City Hall, they're full of violent sex offenders who I'm going to prosecute while this entity is stalking in the bathroom. That's a sex offender, okay? That's the entity, and that documentation is used against the entirety of that entity. And that is speaking to the establishment of what is that criminal conspiracy by the entity acting directly and vicariously. That is literally what you're witnessing while the Ontario Police flies over by helicopter. And that's what I mean by asinine. But that asininity, oh, that's very, very pivotal documentation showing what is impunity. People are going to sit in mental institutions, and that's based on the mind state, the very unbalanced and demented and disturbing mind state, which is a threat to society, while they're engaging in monitoring and group stalking, and they're doing so against one whom they know has evidence. That's speaking to a threat to your life that they are intentionally posing. Why would you engage in flying over me by helicopter? I have hundreds of videos of you stalking me by helicopter. It's evidence against the people that say, whether you understand how that legal framework is choking the life out of you or not. It's impunity. It's corruption by the police who are engaged in an ongoing determination to stalk me in bathrooms while my panties are down. The Ontario Police to be prosecuted as violent sex offenders. That's also why they will have nothing to do with law enforcement. But even more so, they're engaged in terrorism. They're criminals on its face, but they're also engaging in terrorism because they're demons. While you see that fake sun, that's the demon possession of the Ontario Police that you're witnessing. And they do it at the precise moment of 10 a.m., anticipating that I'm documenting the fake sun over me. Understand, it's occurring under the fake sun. No coincidences. It is 10:18 a.m. This is P.O.C. What else are you going to pay attention to, just as an aside? The fake sun, which it is necessarily the fake sun because it's not over the entrance of the Ovitt Family Community Library. It's on the side because the entity is keeping the fake sun based on where I'm located, and it remains where I'm located. And so as I walk to the entrance, then it's on, but understand that that's on an entirely different side of the building. In the same way where I am in the parking lot of the Ovitt Family Community Library and the Ontario Police Department flies over my head at that back portion of that parking lot. Yeah, that's what the entity is doing. And the fake sun, as I've captured it, standing at the entrance over my head, the top of my head, The entity is doing the same thing, by the way, on Sunday, as I document at 4 p.m. over the top of my head at the entrance. The fake sun is at the side. Pay attention. This is, I want to point that out because that's what you're looking at, the fake sun, in addition to the fact that it's nowhere near the Ovid Family Community Library yet yesterday, because I'm not there. I'm not here yet. I mean, I'm coming from B&G Plaza. I'm capturing the fake sun over my head while the Ontario police are group stalking in a vehicle. And then I walk here. And the fake sun remains over my head as I walk here. And it remains for the duration of the day. It is not over a Route 83 bus while I'm en route to Chino, which is documented at the same time. It is not over my head in the parking lot of Mary Margaret Catholic Church in Chino, California, where I'm already present. It is not over the Upland Public Library while I'm inside of that venue. The entity is engaging in what is stalking with the light source, and that's the Ontario Police. All right, so we're going to go inside because the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library, they're going to be prosecuted for that. It's not just them, but that's the venue I'm going inside of, and so I'm going to remind you about the demons who are group stalking with the Ontario Police, who is providing that evidence. That's the Ontario Police Department, who is in no position whatsoever to be of any aid. This is an intent to terrorize while I'm prosecuting. So understand what group stalking is. They're trying to engage in what is psychological torture. They're engaging in what is torturing themselves because I'm going to prosecute them in federal court. This is Satan. That is nothing other than what is a nuisance. And is literally defenseless while I am documenting the people of the state who I'm dragging in federal court after I handle the Ontario Police Department, who are no longer going to be in existence, literally while you hear that helicopter activity. And it's evidence against these demons who are sitting inside of the Ovid Family Community Library under what is not possibly the sun. That remains for the duration of the day. All right, and so we're starting with Stephen. Stephen is the one who I've documented talking to him about Vidco Foods is crossing path on Euclid Avenue, stalking with the Securitas employee, the African-American female. She's going to federal prison as well. She is monitoring on an ongoing basis throughout the day while you hear the Ontario Police Department stalking by helicopter. That's the entity that's entering inside of the bathroom. They're going to be prosecuted for what is that sex offense while they were group stalking, literally while you hear that helicopter activity. And that's exactly what I've been stating. The Ontario Police Department fills the Ovid Family Community Library. All right, and it does not get any more direct than that. This is Greg. Hi, Greg. Greg's in the circulation desk, monitoring. Stephen's sitting in the back in relevant position on the opposite side of the wall. I took a picture of him. Hi, do you have anybody else here? I just need to know because you guys have a helicopter flying over me outside of the library. It's very, very disturbing. Who else is here? Jessica? Oh, Jessica's. Hi, Jessica. She's monitoring as well. Jessica, do you have a last name? Oh, Venegas? Okay. Hi, what's your name?
Greg.
Greg? Okay. Greg is monitoring as well. And JFed is monitoring. Okay, the werewolf that I captured, group stalking at the Ontario Town Square, heavily tattooed. And this is the day that I went to Pomona, California. And the fake sun is over me at the Rio Rancho Town Center. He's a werewolf that's group stalking at the town square. He's also engaged in criminal summoning with the Ontario Police Department with Guerrero and Medina. He is inside of the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library monitoring while the Ontario Police are flying over by helicopter. His images are captured on my website. And it is currently 10:23 a.m. and these are literally demons sitting inside monitoring with the Ontario Police who are flying around in circles. And these are the psychopaths engaging in state surveillance on an ongoing basis. Hi. I'm sorry, I just need to know your name. The Ontario Police Department is flying in circles over me outside. I need to know your name. Jana? Jana? Okay. Is there something wrong? Do you know why they're flying over the library?
Oh, they're doing construction.
The Ontario Police Department is?
The construction workers are?
Oh, the construction workers are flying helicopters?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay, so I've never met you before. What's your name, sir?
Nice to meet you.
What's your name?
Have a good day.
Oh, you don't want to give your name? Okay. He's group stalking. It's not going to remain a mystery anyway. It is currently 10:23 a.m. What his name is, Third Party. That's his name. And he's monitoring with the Ontario Police, and he's a violent sex offender. All right, monitoring with the Ontario Police, monitoring me in the bathroom while my panties are down. Okay. It is currently 10:24 a.m. Look, that's just a sample. This is what the entity has been engaging in. Sean Thrasher, you already know, works here. And the entity is engaging in what is ongoing monitoring. Directed light fills the inside. That's not the sun. That's engineered light. This is all manner of an impermissible threat and going to federal prison. Alrighty, it is currently 10:24 a.m. This is P.O.C.
The entity is indeed stalking in the bathroom. The Ontario Police is outside flying by helicopter. And you have a minion that represents Greg and Stephen, Jessica, and Jana, who are group stalking in relevant position with the sex offender that fills the venue, including inside of the bathroom, engaged in ongoing obsessive monitoring. And this is that predatory aspect of that P.O.C. The Ontario Police is literally flying in circles monitoring with them. It's 10:25 a.m. and this is the perpetual sex offender. That's P.O.C. Okay, I just want to be clear, they're all going to federal prison. It's more than just those employees that I just identified right now. But like I said, the Ovid Family Community Library, you're talking about what is, again, obviously I did not run into, for example, Sean Thrasher, who's already documented, or it's already known that he works here. But like I said, those that I'm naming, I'm just giving you an example, they're going to federal prison, every single last one of them. They're on surveillance cameras monitoring inside of the Ovid Family Community Library, intentionally refusing to give his name while he is monitoring with the Ontario Police Department that's stalking, flying over the venue by helicopter. That's terrorism and harassment that they're directly engaging in. That's an additional federal charge, by the way. He's wearing a name tag, refusing to provide his name while he is engaged in criminal monitoring. You're in the position of the state refusing to provide your name. Understand that. And it's 10:26 a.m. I just want to point that out. They're going to federal prison. P.O.C. Alrighty, 10:34 a.m. What the Ontario Police Department exhibits, first of all, is demon possession. This is demonic, stalking in the helicopters. This is demonic activity. This is also a concession by a defeated entity. It's pathetic. I will describe to you what is the petty aspect of Satan that is a loser. And I mean, severely lost. I mean, with regard to the level of evidence against the entity. It's not just losing with a neen or I lose, I win, you lose. This is, you're going to sit in federal prison for this level of a loss and you're not getting out. 6ZLN130, 7PZU475, 8XVN270, 8SFS097. The Ontario Police Department engaging in what is terrorism and doing so at what is a facilitating venue. This is the entity, the Ovid Family Community Library, every minion that I'm documenting and encountering. They are stalking. That is their way of, these are demons, by the way. Let me just be clear. This is terrorism. This is criminal conduct on its face. But also, I want to give you the demonic translation. This is how these demons who know what I'm documenting about the Ovid Family Community Library, to their own demise, communicate hostility. So the entity will fly over me by helicopter while they're inside monitoring. This is how Satan satiates that appetite to engage in something trying to harm me. You're harming yourself. You're a nuisance. And I've shown hundreds of videos of you stalking. 7VES374 inside of the Ovid Family Community Library, engaging and demonstrating that same impunity, terrorizing with the Ontario Police and the Ontario International Airport. Pay attention to this plane activity. 8BBW655. That's amplified audible activity. The demons on Euclid Avenue, okay? Monitoring while they're pacing around. Wells Fargo is group stalking, the Ontario Town Square, state facilitating venue. Herradura de Oro, that's a store. The Conservatory of the Performing Arts, there are a bunch of demons in relevant position. At C Street, across the street, I'm speaking to venues that are in relevant position. Omnitrans is crossing path right now, bus 1360, they're crossing path, they're monitoring with the Ontario Police. With the Ontario International Airport, concentrating plane activity remaining on the south side of my person, fake sun remaining over me. 8UFK 208. 8PDC 329. And it is the evidence of what is federal prison. Understand these demons are acting together. That's the ongoing conspiracy. Not only is it probative against the people of the state, this is terrorism that the Ovid Family Community Library, the people of the state who are monitoring together, intend to inflict. All right, and how are you aware of this? Because it is clearly damning evidence when you are being captured stalking, because that's what that evidence is. It's evidence of stalking with helicopters. You are intending to terrorize, and you're doing it with those you are monitoring with, the co-conspirator, the people of the state, who I'm naming inside of that venue, 8NMF558. License 8VLK593. Stalking while I am monitoring, stalking with the Ontario Police who illustrate that ongoing impunity. It's the same thing that the people of the state are demonstrating while they're engaged in ongoing stalking, just like that minion knows exactly where I'm at, using their vehicle as light activity, aiming it toward me while I'm inside of the parking garage reading license plates. They're going to federal prison, okay? 7MYM981, 7L37109, 6RTF565. 6EPG451, 6NCL818. License plate 17723M3 6XNX636 WFM-18-02 9AVH936 8ULU737 8VMJ750 and molesting. They're going to federal prison. That is the same evidence that will place the people of the state in mental institutions as well. 16NR742. They're monitoring with Wells Fargo is monitoring with the Ontario Police license 6GNP 465-21606X1 7MHR 105 7VUA 240 16293 license 3XHF 603. All right, so you're talking about sitting in federal prison, paying the price as a matter of justice for what for the level of terrorism and violence that the entity is intentionally engaging in. Wells Fargo is molesting my person with directed light, 7NXJ217 as well, 44431Y2. Directed light covering the sidewalk, which is in shade, and the fake sun is no longer over the Over Family Community Library, where the entity is aiming light over that staircase as though that's the sun. It's not. It's not the sun, and that's also not sunlight. It's demonic. 7XNN633. 8XAU100, 8WTV528, 9AWR466, 56269V1, license plate 5ZDA387, 7HSD994, 5YLZ483. That's the Ontario International Airport. 7NXJ217 is not only molesting, engaging in ongoing demonic conduct, stalking with light activity, using their brakes, using their reverse lights. 5CCB286, 5RRS258, federal prison. All right, they're very easy to locate. They're group stalking in Wells Fargo, engaging in terrorism with the Ontario Police. 8GQX121, 81596X2. They're going to federal prison. While the entity is demonstrating that impunity, flying over your head as you're walking around everywhere, while I'm trying to go into a library, you have a right to not be subject to that. They're monitoring you together with minions who are working in relevant position, with minions who are molesting me with directed light. 1120825 Ontario Montclair School District. The entity is keeping a fake sun over me as I'm showing you in direct evidence. And then the Ontario Police Department is providing, like I said, evidence because they're going to federal prison. Wells Fargo, every employee, I'm snatching their license right now. They're going to federal prison. License 7VZE053. Let me make sure I got this license plate. AWTV528, I got that. They are in relevant position while you hear and you see also in video the entity, the Ontario Police, a bunch of demons who engage in what is physically attacking me and monitoring with the same entity that is engaged in ongoing obsessive stalking in a bathroom. You're stalking by helicopter, and then you're maintaining presence inside of the bathroom stall. That's what Satan just did right now. I captured that in still image. While Jessica and Stephen and Greg and Jana all know that they're being documented for a very specific criminal act. That's why they've engaged in multiple acts of obstruction of justice. Criminal monitoring underway while I'm in the bathroom, and they're engaging in what is criminal defamation and criminal summoning. 5BGD014. 8TRT924, 5YLZ483, surveillance at Ontario Town Square. And they engage in criminal surveillance of who? Guess who? The demons that you hear flying in helicopter over me. That's who they were summoning. All right, monitoring together. That's why they're going to federal prison as well. 5RZX660, 6JWJ980, 48319F3. It is 10:41 a.m. SOY 146. Seven ETZ 563. D940T1 molesting me with directed light while they're driving on Euclid Avenue. And they're doing that with the Ontario Police Department. That is federal prison. That's a psychopath that belongs in a straitjacket. 6RZC963. And I will prosecute accordingly. 8LLT482.
They're doing so while they are stalking, driving on the street, doing so while I'm walking in shade. That's a demon stalking with light, 6JAM 848. The same impunity illustrated while the Ontario Police fly circles over my head, 8PHJ 429, federal prison. Okay, the Ontario International Airport flying over Wells Fargo. And by Ontario International Airport, I mean Ontario International Airport are sending planes stalking me, following me step by step. 5 FIP 327, that's impunity. That's an African American female with directed light, federal prison. All right, license plate, same, pacing, 8 NRC 478. That's the Ontario Police stalking. That's what you need to understand. They all represent the Ontario Police Department, who is providing evidence of the fact that it is indeed the Ontario Police group stalking while they're flying over me by helicopter. Demon crossing path, 57131 and 2. Hold on. All right, you're looking at a demon's method of stalking with light, 8 NRC 478. That is, again, criminal summoning. The pattern of conduct is revealing what is the psychopath of the threat that they pose to the public, to society, while this demon-possessed population engages in criminal conduct that it is squarely surrounded with the evidence thereof, and doing so on behalf of a very demented and demon-possessed police department, the Ontario Police. As I'm reading license plates, you're witnessing what is ongoing obsessive stalking. All right, and that's also illustrated further while the entity follows where I'm at, not coincidentally under the fake sun, with planes, okay? While the entity is already shown to be engaging in a pattern of stalking me by helicopter, and doing so while the entity is then flashing, molesting, following with directed light. All right, monitoring with the Ontario Police, Food and Nutrition Services. This is the Ontario Montclair School District. A matter of documentation as to these are nothing other than demons who have also engaged in molesting me with directed light. Arriving at Ovid Family Community Library, monitoring with them and the Ontario Police. 1630715. They're on surveillance cameras entering inside of the Ovid Family Community Library at 10:46 a.m. 10:45 a.m. 7YAK 902. And they're molesting with directed light. While you hear this demon, hey, 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 that's audible activity. They're demons monitoring together. Their conversation is a method of audible activity. 7WYM 284, molesting. This is the same entity engaging in terrorism, physically attacking me, stalking in the bathroom, okay, engaging in predatory conduct, Satan seeking to surround you everywhere you go, and a stalker following you into the bathroom as well. That's what the Ontario Police Department and the people of the state are doing. While you hear helicopter activity over my head, while you see a third party in the bathroom stall in relevant position. License 8SHB 672, 8UAD 514. Engaging in surveillance in the back parking lot under the fake sun, 7HQL 561. That's an Asian male. City of Ontario, 1564986. Alrighty, that demon then starts stalking with light, 7HQL 561, reversing. As I start walking, 7SLT 682. I think I read that one. Let me make sure I get these license plates over here. KOBE2SQ. And this Asian male engages in what is maintaining presence in the parking lot for purposes of crossing path conduct. That's surveillance with the intent to engage in maintaining the ongoing elements of monitoring, a method of light activity with simultaneity to what I'm doing as I do it, as I start walking, while the fake sun remains over my head. That's surveillance. 8SRV 642 GRG GKG 6NCT 347 7TQM 468 6ELM 748 8FXY 391 8ROY 394. 6EWC 171, 7MCX 874, 6GBD 556. So understand how the pattern of conduct, how malicious Satan is, understand what Satan is doing. But for ongoing evidence of stalking by the state, you're talking about what is the Ovid Family Community Library, for example, the people inside of there would ordinarily engage in, oh, you're hallucinating, you're some crazy person talking about helicopters are following you, the police are following you. Yeah, you can't argue against evidence, and it's been for a term of years. So understand how there is no response when you are directly addressing that stalker with that Ontario Police Department who is routinely engaging in stalking me at this venue. And you also engage in routinely summoning them. All right, and it's not just at the Ovid Family Community Library. The Ontario Police Department is stalking me where I sleep, stalking me everywhere that I go in Ontario, following. Just like 8EZW039 is following. 7XDK665, 8BQY986, 58XU441, 8MJX494, 2250L1, 2225OL1, 5TQS003, 7V52441, 6PSU463, 3KEL078, 6PNV904, 7UTW116, Letner Roofing Company, again, engaging in surveillance on another day with the Ontario Police. This is a company engaging in what is unlawful. You're talking about what are removing such companies from existence. Their little beat-up pickup truck license plate is 29491D2. They're a bunch of demons group stalking and monitoring while my panties are down in a bathroom while the demons engage in surveillance in that area, okay? That's what the Letner Roofing Company is engaging in, surveillance under a fake sun with the Ontario Police, APAE 358. They're engaged in terrorism while the Ontario Police fly over my head. That's Letner Roofing Company engaging in that terrorism. That's Letner Roofing Company engaging in what is physically attacking me, all right? This is the same exact entity ceaselessly engaged in group stalking. 8LWG 968, 8HAL 868, 6NVM 188. I just want to make sure I read these, so I might be repeating some of these. 8CEE 012. 9APZ 584, 7RXV 901, 5CEY 470. The Ontario Fire Department remains a relevant position as well while the entity was flying over by helicopter as I stood on the side of the Overland Family Community Library where the sun is not over the entrance. Based on when I'm standing at the entrance, that's where the fake sun is over my head. But you're paying attention to that conduct. I want to be clear, the Ontario Fire Department is also, while those demons are at their fire station, it's in relevant position. 425 East B Street, the Ontario Fire Department, criminal headquarters, a bunch of demons in positions that they're waiting to be plucked out of, engaged in ongoing criminal conduct, and you heard them sounding sirens. Those are demons creating audible activity with knowledge also of the fact that I'm documenting the P.O.C. and doing so while monitoring under the fake sun and indirected light as I stood at outside on the side of the Overland Family Community Library. That was criminal summoning by the Ontario Fire Department. Again, by the Overland Family Community Library demonstrating impunity, all right? Very vicious and violent sex offenders. Predatory conduct. This is a stalker that is following, tracking your steps, including into a bathroom. That is directly tied to what is going on. They're monitoring with the Ontario Police day and night as you see them also physically attack me. That's the entity that's group stalking, knows exactly where I'm sleeping, walks right up to me as I state the fact that they're stalkers and they're violent sex offenders stalking in bathrooms. Okay, and then that entity doesn't like that. So you come up and you attack, you go to federal prison for that and you're not getting out. And I'm going to continue documenting. That's exactly what Jessica and Greg are engaging in while you have a demon standing around monitoring. I'll remind you of the license plate that they're inside of, group stalking, standing around obsessively monitoring with a communication device, staring at his phone, remains in relevant position while he then turns around and goes back to his open car door. He is group stalking in the parking lot under the fake sun, appears to be an Asian male wearing a blue cap, a black t-shirt, khaki pants, and black shoes with a olive green backpack, 7BST 155. Violent sex offender. It's currently 10:51 a.m. All right, this is what is state surveillance. This is surrounding an entity that's engaging in state surveillance. This is what that conduct looks like. This is what the hallmarks are. This is how you are analyzing a criminal conspiracy, because that's what group stalking is. It's direct and vicarious stalking and surveillance within violation of federal law. They're engaged in criminal monitoring as well. That's what you need to know, that they're not just demons who are following you around everywhere. Their criminal purpose is to place you under surveillance. They're also engaged in what is now, because I'm documenting and publishing evidence to prosecute, obstruction of justice. The Overland Family Community Library is sitting in there all day long trying to slow down internet, trying to obstruct my ability to access any file or upload any file, etc., that they're catching those federal charges automatically. That's embedded in it is already inherent to that prosecution. And it is directly relevant that the Ontario Police is documented and engaged in a pattern of following me, flying over me and around me, and remaining by helicopter at this address. Yes, you're going straight to federal prison. Okay, so every act of criminal summoning, that was evidence. Those very ones that you see at the counters, when I said, and I'm exiting out, they're going to federal prison, Natasha and Greg and Carlos, they're going to federal prison. All right, it is currently 10:52 a.m. I just wanted to get those license plates. I wanted to recite it specifically. Like I said, when you're talking about documenting an entity, I am providing examples as to how an ordinary target individual, any American citizen, is able to document. You're really talking about where's your location, what is the entity doing. I've shown you what is the pattern of conduct, the ways in which you're identifying what you're subject to. No, you're not going to, and obviously the ordinary target individual is not going to, very unlikely to document police. Okay, and by police I mean approaching them and getting their license plates. I am speaking to the entity at what I'm exposing. It's an ongoing agenda. They're going to federal prison. They're going to sit there. They will never have anything to do with law enforcement. They're going to have a very heavy sex offense on their criminal record. They are done. They are surrounded with evidence. You're talking about years of stalking me by helicopter. They're going to federal prison. All right, but the ordinary target individual, you don't have to do that. 6 RTF 565, it's conduct by the state. You're documenting the state. The Ovid Family Community Library, that's where you're at. You're showing what's the fake sun. You're showing how it remains over you all day long. The entity is engaging in what is, again, a hallmark is harassment. An entity is engaging in what is criminally monitoring you. They're doing so also while you're showing now what you're looking, if you were not aware of what is directed light. You're paying attention to the light activities. This is how you know you're subject to surveillance. You're surrounded by demons who it also legally relevant where they're stalking and monitoring you. The sex offender follows into a bathroom. All right, and the entity is also engaging in what is that conduct while they know that you're documenting. It's also relevant. You're going to further prosecute the entity while it is continuously engaging in that pattern of conduct as you then begin documenting. The state shall be prosecuted for that. The people of the state and the state that acts directly shall be prosecuted for that. All right, these are the same demons engaging in what is criminal monitoring. It's so pathetic. City of Ontario, 1416308. They're pathetic. This is the one with the tattoo on their neck wearing the farmer's hat, and the other one, oh, she's in my face right now. She's in my face right now. And I'm documenting on video because he's scared as I'm documenting him. Engaged in multiple acts of criminal summoning, he chooses crossing path. That's the Ontario Police Department. That's what they represent. That's the municipality monitoring with the Ontario Police Department. That's how you end up in federal prison, okay? Because you're understanding what the police are doing, what law enforcement are doing. They're placing you under surveillance and group stalking. Not only is it demonic, which is relevant to corruption. Demon possession, directly relevant. It is the root cause of corruption, okay? So I want to be clear, that's no religious right. This is corruption. FDA, 3CU, Arizona, that's a demon. Group stalking with what is Amazon Prime flying over, monitoring with the Ontario Police Department. Anyway, the entity is engaging in this conduct and doing so while you are beginning the process of documentation. That's an enhancement to time in federal prison. Because you're addressing what the government is doing. It's public corruption. The government, you're talking about what is demonstrating an ongoing determination to continue threatening your life. To continue threatening your life while it is aware of the fact that you have started the process to reveal it, to expose it. You're going to prosecute for that level of terrorism as well. All right, that's the ultimate threat. The government is not above the law. The government itself is not above the law. This is the fallacy that Satan's operating, wearing all kinds of hats and thinking that nobody's ever going to find out what you're doing. Not only is it found out, you're going to be prosecuted furthermore based on the ongoing criminal conduct while a psychopath is continuously stalking and monitoring you. Okay? 17721M3, I believe. Anyway, that's relevant as well. And you're talking about, it does not matter that I'm establishing the precedent. It shall be policy, uniform policy. The Ovid Family Community Library, you're talking about years of an impermissible threat. Years. Years of engaging in a pattern of criminal summoning. The demons of the Ontario Police Department are the stalker. That's the stalker that are the people of the state summoning the stalker to my face while they are stalking together. Okay, that's what they've been engaged in. Wrap your mind around that. That's what Satan is doing. Oh yeah, you're going to federal prison. You're going to federal prison and you're going to have an unprecedented level of a sex offense on your criminal record forever. Forever. And this is what while I am walking into the library and they're all acting perplexed. And I mean acting. You're acting under the fake sun. You're acting in direct light. You are acting while the entity is stalking by helicopter. And that's witnessing the psychopath. Oh, I don't know. The helicopter? Oh, it must be construction. Oh, really? The construction workers are flying a helicopter? Really? Oh, they were the other day as well while they flew directly over me. And the other night, the other afternoon, right? Because this is an ongoing pattern. And it's not just this past week and a half. Okay, this is years. 9AMM267. And that's federal prison. This is understanding who's present, who's prancing around inside of this library. It's the Ontario Police Department's vicarious presence. All right, and that vicarious presence, it's relevant how they do it. They want to include children. Oh, well, that's directly relevant to the sex offender that you are. You engage in sexual violence, including children in that. That's why you heard me speak in Spanish to that third party who brings in a child to sexually violate another, invade the privacy of another. As the Ontario Police, you're in the shoes of the police, in the shoes of the state. Okay, you represent the state and you're using a child to engage in that. That's exactly how that's going to be prosecuted, because that's what it is. All right, so I'm literally translating for you what is demonic activity. Anyway, it's currently 10:57 a.m. I just wanted to gather a little more names. This is the entity that physically attacked me on video. This is the same exact entity demonstrating that ongoing obsession. Ontario Police Vehicle 1825, that's a demon. License plate 1462881. Alrighty, and I did capture images. Fake Sun, City of Ontario is group stalking the same two that the little duo that I named, 8CSN021, that's federal prison. This is the entity's entity. It's to its own demise. You're stalking me by helicopter. You're stalking me, a demon driving a police vehicle with directed light, the same demonic activity as I'm turning around and walking into the building. That's supposed to be Satan's means of threatening and terrorizing you. It is that. That's how I'm going to prosecute. I'm advocating, remember? But you're talking about what you're trying to threaten me. I'm going to prosecute you. You're literally handing over evidence to the prosecutor. That's how idiotic Satan is. And everybody sitting at that circulation desk, everybody whose name you heard, Janice sitting back there, she's monitoring with this demon in that Ontario police vehicle. Okay? She's going to federal prison. Janice heavily documented engaging in what is monitoring. She's literally bathing in directed light while the entity engaged in that pattern of aiming directed light through the entrance doors after it kept it over the building throughout the day. By the way, actually it was over 280 North Lemon Apartments. And then the entity kept the fake sun as though it then set inside, just like I'm talking about with Shiro's Liquor inside of the B&G Plaza. The pattern that it's over the building, and then in the evening, it's underneath the structure, aiming sunlight into the building, keeping it there all day long. Okay, that's what Jana is captured on. It's not just Jana, but I'm just giving you an example. These are third parties, well, state actors actually, that are heavily documented. I'm speaking to what is completing documentation, because when I say federal prison, that's exactly what I mean and nothing less. And while you provide, and by you I mean this entity, provides documentation, you're handing it over to the prosecutor. You're stalking, flying over me by helicopter, thank you, I guess. I mean, I don't need it. Okay, but you're handing it over to me, that's fine. That's literally what they're doing, and that is, again, Satan that is conceding. You know you lost. And it's not just that I win, you lose. Losing has very real consequences, very serious ones. And so while you're stalking by the Ontario police who have they don't have an iota of legitimacy, engaging in what is conduct to the demise of its own criminal counterpart. License plate, that's the people of the state. License plate, trying to run 8YLT236 while the entity sounds helicopter activity. All right, Jessica and Greg, they're going to federal prison. Pay attention. Directed light is inside of the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library. And they're all inside talking about, I don't know why the helicopter is flying over. That's Jessica sitting at the front desk. She's going to federal prison. Greg, Stephen, Jana. All right, this is P.O.C. You've got the minions walking around with a bunch of kids. They're all creating activity in directed light. That's P.O.C. It's 11 a.m. And monitoring inside of the bathroom, that's the Ontario Police sounding helicopter activity. You know why they're flying around by helicopter outside? No. Yeah, it's directed light in the bathroom. This is a group stalker. This is demonic. This is stalking in the bathroom. This is the Ovid Family Community Library. It's P.O.C. You say what? Just in Ontario a lot? No, actually it's not. Helicopter activity in Upland and in Fontana, yeah, and in Montclair. That's why I'm paying attention to it. And everybody that's around while that tends to happen. People like to line up in the bathroom, especially while helicopters are flying over the library. That's very, very peculiar. Yeah. It's going to be an awesome, spectacular prosecution. I know that. It's 11:01 a.m. This is group stalking in the bathroom. This is Satan. This is directed light that's on the floor. I'm looking at it. While this minion represents the Ontario Police in the bathroom. This is a sex offender who is acting with impunity. That is the entity amplifying helicopter activity upon walking inside of the library. And that is ongoing evidence to your own demise. That's the psychopath that's going into federal prison. That's P.O.C. Go ahead. Am I in your way?
Oh no, but do you have a problem with me or what?
No, I'm not.
You can let me know because you're acting a little crazy with me.
No, I'm not. I'm actually on my phone, minion, so you can go about your business. Okay, bye. This is the true face of Satan. This is the true face of Satan. Okay, bye. With your crusty knees. Bye. While you're stalking. Yeah, right. Your knees are ugly, but that's why you're stalking. No, that's why you don't have a waistline. Bye, Satan. Go wash your hair. That's why you're stalking in a bathroom. You're a sex offender. You're stalking in a bathroom. That's the true face of Satan, all right, while she's listening to me document and a minion engaging in surveillance in the bathroom, all right? Immediate pivot while I'm talking on my phone. Doesn't understand half of the words that I'm stating, but understand you're dealing with an entity that's monitoring documentation. The entity that's sounding helicopter activity, did you hear that helicopter outside? Oh, okay. The entity that's sounding helicopter outside is directly relevant to the minions that are in the bathroom, all right? And that immediate pivot is speaking to what I identified at the outset in directed light in a bathroom, a sex offender, all right, who is engaging in what is that pivot of character. That's a psychopath. Alrighty, anyway, it's currently 11:03 a.m. That's also what is a sex offender monitoring in a bathroom. And that's really what you're mad about, while the entity is stalking by a helicopter. Okay, that's P.O.C. That's the Ontario Police that engages in physical violence, okay, while they're stalking. That's the entity that engages in what is name calling, okay? She literally has crusty knees and no waistline and dirty, greasy hair while she is stalking in a bathroom, and a psychopath with multiple shadows in the bathroom, trying to call names, which is audible activity. You're not gonna be distracted by Satan. You are literally stalking me in a bathroom, okay? Concerned about what I'm doing with my panties. You can't call me names. The reality is that you are called a sex offender, all right? It's currently 11:04 a.m. That's the Ontario Police. Understand that. This is P.O.C. It is 11:08 a.m. And again, I'm just going to go ahead and take another picture of the entity falling with the fake sun. While I'm in Chino, California, I remain in Chino, California. For example, I remain in Fontana, California. The entity is keeping a fake sun over me, and those cities mutually exclusive. And even today, when I went to Upland at the same time where I remained in Ontario, stalking with a light source. And that's the Ontario Police stalking with a helicopter and stalking in their vehicles while the demon possessed that are the people of the state are stalking in the bathroom. Okay, that's a sex offender that is engaging in what is what you're witnessing in real time is Satan that's playing nice. Nice is the accurate word because it's fake. It's nothing but audible activity and direct light. And I'm even entertaining it because I want you to hear their voice. They're stalking. That's the Ontario Police. That is literally, again, sounding helicopter activity. Entering into the bathroom, that's the Ontario Police. A sex offender. That's what they're going to be prosecuted as you hear. I mean, it could not get any better with regard to the prosecution for that sex offense. Helicopter activity, enter in, stalking in the bathroom. Molesting with directed light, 7 LWB 484. Okay, 7 HOX 164. This is a demon you see in the still image. They're pacing around, directed light on the asphalt while they are driving by. That's a demon that's crossing path. In the aggregate, the people of the state, there are a bunch of demons engaging and targeting you. They are pacing all around together. They're doing so with directed light, which is revealing their condition and revealing the fact that they are engaging what is very specific conduct around you, which is achieving criminal monitoring as well. And at 11:09 a.m., I am in Chino, California. I am at what is the entrance of the Chino Branch Library. That is not over the entrance of the Ovid Family Community Library. That is impossible to be the case. There's so many, it also would not be in the same exact position at 4 o'clock. This is exactly what I captured, however, on Sunday, where the fake sun is in the same position over my head as I exit the Ovid Family Community Library. But 11:09 a.m., which I've used on more than one occasion, I documented the same time frame in Fontana, California, where the entity is keeping a fake sun over me at the Fontana Lewis Library. This is speaking to what is the entity engaging in, while it repeatedly provides evidence of the fact that the Ontario Police are the entity that engages in demonic conduct. That's speaking to a disqualification. That's a direct root cause of corruption. That's what this evidence is revealing, and this is how the federal law needs to address it. It's not something that has anything to do with religiosity. Demon possession is a matter of objective evidence, the ability to identify it. It is the root cause for corruption that is seeking to remain concealed. It's not able to remain concealed anymore. Understand what this documentation is helpful to identifying. In addition to that, you have what is providing ongoing evidence of the fact that you're stalking with a helicopter while you're surrounded by evidence. Why? I mean, and then what you're listening to in the bathroom is a demon that is then hostile, showing the true face. She's engaging in chit-chatting, all right, but while Satan listens to me document, you're talking about an immediate pivot. That's the psychopath that's always present. That's what you're hearing, okay? With her crusty knees, literally falling off of her knees while she is stalking me in a bathroom. Are you serious? Yes, I am serious. Actually, they are serious. This is the entity. That's the Ontario Police Department. That's a violent sex offender. That's direct evidence of it. Okay, helicopter activity, and guess who's stalking in the bathroom? The Ontario Police Department. Group stalking. License plate. Directed light, 6XKV238. Group stalking with the Ontario International Airport, 7TCB964, in case I didn't read that one. With the Ontario International Airport, that's doing donuts over the 280 North Lemon apartments. This is documentation of the Ontario International Airport engaging in what is corrupt, monitoring state surveillance and terrorism with and in concert of the Ontario Police. The Ontario International Airport is a state facilitating venue, utilizing commercial airline planes to engage in what is following everywhere that I go in that specific environment, and doing so at a specific location on the side of my person, the south side of my person. Anywhere that I'm at, they maintain a specific placement on the specific side of my person. 4GER548, and they're doing so over the 280 North Lemon apartments, doing donuts. Amplifying the sound of plane activity as though they're taking off over the Ontario Senior Housing Parter. That's called stalking. That's the documentation of prosecuting what is the Ontario International Airport. That is exposing the corruption that is underway, the criminal conduct of the Ontario International Airport. Alrighty, it's 11:13 a.m. The fake send is at the Ovid Family Community Library, where there would be, first of all, what's the analysis? First of all, that's not the sun. This is the demon, 5 PJP 629. They're going to federal prison. They're a violent sex offender. Group stalking with the Ovid Family Community Library, the Ontario Police. Directed light toward me, that's terrorism. While they know that I'm documenting, that's impunity. Multiple grounds of federal prison, okay? So anyway, the entity is keeping the fake sun over 11:09 a.m. So you're understanding what's not the natural environment. That's not possibly the sun that's over my head at the Chino Branch Library, over my head while I am in Fontana, California at the same time. I am remaining at the venue and let me get this license, JAY121, that's a demon with directed light toward the driver's side because they are driving in the direction what is south. So again, the directed light is based, it's pursuant to me, they're stalking, they're demons that are hostile as well, and they reveal their own condition, and it's revealing the condition of the Ontario Police Department. That's already a matter of conclusive evidence though. 7VWY577, it's speaking to an ongoing consistent pattern. That's what it is. It's already conclusive evidence. The pattern is already established. But nonetheless, at 11:09 a.m., the entity is keeping the fake sun over the Chino Branch Library, over the entrance. The sun is not over the Ovid Family Community Library at the same time. And moreover, in its zenith. And then moreover, remaining for the entrance, it's mutually exclusive what the entity is doing from city to city as I'm documenting this P.O.C. All right, and that is speaking to who is Jessica. Let me be clear. Let me give you an example how you're going to prosecute. JAYX121 is a demon terrorizing with Jessica, who's sitting at the circulation desk, monitoring a group stalking with that demon, who is aiming directed light in my direction underneath the structure of this Ovid Family Community Library, where the fake sun is directly over my head. Jessica is engaging in what is stalking me in the bathroom, engaging in what is harassing me as a demon-possessed entity while she is monitoring. Literally, that audible activity of that demon is attributed to Jessica, who was sitting at the circulation desk, monitoring with a communication device in violation of existing federal law while she is in that unmistakable environment, speaking to her condition as well. She's a demon stalking while my panties are down, okay, doing so on behalf of the sex offender that she is acting in concert with, the Ontario Police. 7761 TL2, I believe. I want to be clear, that's how you're applying that analysis to the entirety of an entity. All right, the entity is engaging in conduct together. Jessica is also documented as engaging in what is an assault and battery as an entity that's at this moment continuously stalking. While you hear helicopter activity, that's Jessica engaging in what is criminal monitoring on behalf of the Ontario Police Department. All right, that is evidence against Jessica. Jessica is an employee at the Ovid Family Community Library. This is the P.O.C. Hi, are you an actual veteran? Oh, this is shameful. Alrighty, anyway, this is a violent sex offender that's monitoring, wearing a veteran's hat. He's group stalking and he's a demon. It's currently 11:16. Hi, what's your name? Hi, what's your name? Sophia is stalking with audible activity. Sophia's a demon. This is P.O.C. She pushes the cart out of the door as I walk in. She's monitoring with this old demon wearing a veteran's hat outside. All right, and Sophia's a violent sex offender who's monitoring while my panties are down and doing so on behalf of the Ontario Police Department. They're all sitting inside of the library in directed light. Okay, group stalking, nothing other than that, and doing so also in bathrooms, while the entity is flying over by helicopter. Okay, it's not just the directed light that is the level of ridiculous conduct that they're engaging in. It's the entity that is flying over by helicopter. This is the hallmark. And then you enter inside of the venue, and there are demons just like you hear as I enter, stalking with noise activity in directed light. That's what Sophia is doing. That's a criminal act. That's ongoing terrorism. This is what they're all doing together. Imagine a bunch of demons remaining around you, hovering over you, pacing all around you, all right, and demented light, and engaging in what is demented conduct, maintaining an ongoing soundtrack as you click your screen, as you upload a file, as you engage in any physical movement, surrounding and punctuating that with the creation of noise, which is relevant to what is the directed light because they're monitoring. And they're doing so with the Ontario Police, who are flying over the building by helicopter. That's terrorism that Sophia is engaging in, and you're going to prosecute Jessica for that. Okay, that's the ongoing analysis. Okay, it is currently 11:17 a.m. This is indeed state surveillance and terrorism at the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library. This is P.O.C. 7MMM108. It's a third-party group stalking with the Ontario Police in relevant position under the fake sun that remains over the Ovid Family Community Library, where Carlos, Mickey, Natasha are monitoring with the Ontario Police under the light source, which remains directed light under the entrance as well. They are violent sex offenders monitoring while my panties are down with the Securitas
African-American female, the Securitas security guard. She follows me outside, which I capture on video, focusing her phone on me. And that's the same thing she's doing when I'm in the bathroom, following into the bathroom, creating what are allegations while she knows I'm documenting the fact that she is a sex offender. I'm speaking to the criminal act of criminal summoning that she engaged in, and she's monitoring with the Ontario Police. This is Natasha. And Abigail as well, monitoring with the Ontario Police Department, where the light source is captured over the parking garage. It's over the same position this morning at 8:05 in the morning. And that was what I was telling you to pay attention to. The light source is in the same position in alignment with my face, remaining over the top of my head during the latter part of the day. It's also in a directly opposite position where at 5:45 p.m., as I documented, the Ontario Police flying over my head by helicopter. And the fake sun is on the side of that library and not over the parking garage. But this is speaking to, again, what you're paying attention to early morning, afternoon, and to the late evening, where they are doing nothing but engaging in surveillance. They're sitting in the study rooms, group stalking. They are walking in and out of doorways in directed light, stalking with audible activity. They are entering and exiting the library for purposes of monitoring with the Ontario Police, who, by the way, were flying around very heavily by helicopter, which was documented. And this is the entity that's engaging in what is also monitoring in the bathroom while my panties are down, which I also documented. That's the people of the state. That's the Ontario Police Department. All right. And so you could see clearly the light source over that parking garage, and you can see what are the Ontario Police surrounded with light activity. Ontario Town Square is also engaging in the pattern of conduct. They are monitoring as well in relevant position and directed light under the entrance. It is currently 5:24 p.m. This is P.O.C. Names.
I am Lieutenant Gonzalez.
Y Guerrero?
Yep, Officer Guerrero.
What's your badge number?
80536.
80536. And what's your name?
John Gonzalez.
John Gonzalez. What's your badge number, Gonzalez?
15147.
15147?
Yes,
okay, thank you. These are the Ontario Police Department. They are posing what is an impermissible threat surrounding the perimeter of the Ovid Family Community Library with light activity in relevant position. They are engaged in criminal monitoring. This is the same exact Ontario Police Department that is following me around the city in helicopters. They are around what is the Ontario Town Square. This is criminal summoning, whereby they are using their presence as what is the outward form for ongoing criminal monitoring. The elements of monitoring remain underway. They are literally engaging in what is using the Ontario Town Square, some event, for what is the outward form for group stalking. And those officers are captured in images. I'm also capturing their likeness on my podcast. They're going to federal prison. 1465789. Securitas is monitoring with the Ontario Police Department. The Ontario Police Department is monitoring while my panties are down, including Guerrero. This is this officer's name, and the two that I'm identifying on my podcast. I have two shadows in front of me, so let me show you what is the demon that these two minions are while they're wearing police uniforms. Alrighty, I did capture what is, again, that light activity. This is speaking to directed light. This is the specific environment where the demon-possessed are engaging in criminal surveillance. This is also speaking to what is an impermissible threat while the entity is monitoring documentation. And so this is the Ontario Police Department, the same exact Ontario Police Department engaged in theft of my property, repeated acts of kidnapping, fictitious exercise of authority under the law while they're engaged in criminal surveillance and terrorism, and also stalking by helicopters, okay, including this morning. I mean, you're talking about the documentation of the entity flying over in video and on my podcast, following me around the building as I was walking around, flying over my head as I referenced stalking by helicopter, and then you have them standing outside, you hear them identifying themselves. They're going to federal prison. Their presence pursuant to some event is nothing other than the P.O.C, and also the people of the state are engaged in criminal summoning with them. And while I'm inside, Carlos is standing in relevant position. Carlos has been engaged in monitoring with the Ontario Police, present while the entity was flying over me by helicopter, monitoring while my panties are down all day long with the Ontario Police, engaged in criminal surveillance inside of the Ovid Family Community Library, and engaging in what is standing right there, manning the path as I walk outside, threatening with the Ontario Police Department. License plate 8ZGV039, including the old ragged minion you see wearing the Securitas and yellow badge under the fake sun at 5:12 p.m. She also is monitoring, again, with the Ontario Police. She's also monitoring with the Ontario Police when they're engaged in criminal summoning. This is another iteration of what is the exact same pattern of conduct, criminal summoning. The presence of the demon-possessed agency that's engaged in criminal surveillance and doing so under the guise of some event. That's what the Ontario Town Square is engaging in. They're monitoring. There are demons that are pacing around me inside of the Ovid Family Community Library, stalking with the maintenance of noise and engineered light. I've shown you the multiple shadows, the directed light that fills the venue. They keep sunlight over that staircase as though the sun would remain present over that staircase all day long. It's directed light. They are monitoring under the fake sun, which I also showed you video of not just today. This is an ongoing pattern of documenting P.O.C. at Ovitt Family Community Library, and then stepping outside, and I just wanted to document and identify what are criminals and the malice, the psychopaths that are engaging in very audacious conduct, and that's why they're going to sit in federal prison. And they literally just identified themselves for that. 1515411 is the Ontario Police vehicle using their lights. That's criminal summoning. Alrighty, and license plate, monitoring with the Ontario Police Federal Prison, GRUV3. It is currently 9:06 p.m. and I do have triple shadows walking outside in a parking lot, having nothing to do with what are the parking lot lights, the building lights, the property lights. This is a demonic environment, and these are the demon possessed who are stalking with helicopters and engaging in criminal surveillance using their vehicles surrounding. This is hardcore surveillance, and as I've shown you, as I've already referenced, excuse me, while you document and as I've documented very heavily, the pattern of conduct by the Ontario Police Department when you are surrounded with what is very damning evidence, with what is evidence that you are in no way capable of rendering legitimate under any circumstances, which is, again, the ongoing physical violence that the Ontario Police Department is directly engaged in, stalking me by helicopter, and the people of the state that they are group stalking with right now, engaging in what is attacking me while they're stalking in a helicopter. There is no reconciling such conduct, and it's a pattern, by the way. So you have what is standing with a straight face, stalking in your face. This is called the impermissible threat that these two police officers are posing while they are relying on what is the events of the people as for their presence using their vehicles. That's called criminal summoning. All right? While demons are in the parking garage aiming light onto the walls, this is entirely demonic. Entirely demonic. License plate 8ATB730, Federal Prison. 7FGW 849, Federal Prison. And the license plate I already read, they just drive into the parking garage and they're just aiming their lights onto the wall. These are demons that are stalking with light. GRUV3, Federal Prison. They're helping the Ontario Police. They are group stalking with the Ontario Police. Okay, that's Federal Prison. License 53107Z2, 6VRX 795. License 8NJU096, 7YBT 792, P.O.C. The entity has engaging in nothing other than, and will continue. You're talking about, as I named them right now, that's why it's so easy to document, and they're going to federal prison, and those are the names you're going to remember while the entity is flying over me by helicopter tonight, okay? Those are the names you're going to remember while the entity is group stalking by helicopter like you heard this morning. You're going to remember those names that you just heard right now. They're going to federal prison. They are added onto the list of those who I have specifically encountered in order to document them on my podcast and or video and images, and they're going to federal prison. All right, but this is evidence against the Ontario Police Department itself. This demonic environment, as you're seeing, there's no exception. It's not ceasing, and all you're doing is engaging in demonic activity and calling it an event at the Ontario Town Square. Those are delusional psychopaths, and this is encountering Satan. Those are the demon possessed. Those are the psychopaths that are flying over my head by helicopter. That's exactly what they were doing this morning. Okay, so I just want to calmly collect those names. That's why I wanted to get that, because those are the psychopaths that have been engaging in stalking me all day long while I'm at the library. CC48L15, paper. Stalking with audible activity, they're going to federal prison. They're group stalking at Wells Fargo. Monitoring with the Ontario Police, 8GYR162, federal prison. No joke. The entity acting directly and vicariously. License plate 7FKF438. This is P.O.C. Like I said, the entity, as I documented, every employee inside of Wells Fargo, I read many of their license plates, federal prison. They've been engaged in surveillance all day long while the Ontario Police Department use their vehicles which is a threat. They're monitoring. That's a threat while you are looking at that. Remember, I'm advocating on behalf of the ordinary target individual. This is a threat to their very livelihood, a threat to their safety. It's a terrorizing threat while the police are again stalking. What are they calling it? Oh, we have an event at the Ontario Town Square today. That's why we're here. And don't forget about the fact that we're stalking you every night by helicopter. Okay, following you around everywhere, including that's what we did today at the library. But we're here right now. We're just hosting an event. The people of the state are group stalking and monitoring. The Ontario Police Department are, and that's speaking to the psychopath. That's malice. 8SWT505. Every license plate I read right now, they're going to federal prison. Okay. The Ontario Town Square is armed with surveillance cameras. They are on surveillance cameras today engaging in this event. It's the identification of a massive amount of people engaging in criminal conduct, demonic activity, the festivities of Satan underway. 7872691, 88460K1.
88460. Oh, yeah, I read that one already. It's a commercial vehicle. And it's currently 9:10 p.m. Let me get this license plate real quick. 5ZJR989. 8DSX878. 8YCV417. 8ZNS05. You can scratch that one. I can't see the last three characters. It's 9:11 p.m. 8CVM139, 8WOL072, 8KFC269. And again, the Metro 102 apartments, the 280 North Lemon apartment, the Ontario Senior Housing Part at 280 North Lemon in Ontario, California, the Metro 102 apartments at 102 Lemon Avenue in Ontario, California, the Ontario Town Square townhomes. These are nothing other than what are the demon-possessed who reside conveniently in relevant position where the entity is engaging in what is ongoing perpetual presence while the people of the state live in relevant position. Use the residences where they are, which are nothing other than venues. Understand everything takes on a different context. Everything takes on the context of the state. The state lives wherever it is the people of the state are. The state is working wherever the people of the state are. They're not present in any individual capacity in that specific environment is also establishing that. This is understanding you're lifting up the boulder and showing all the cockroaches, all right, that are hiding in plain sight. No, you're not hiding. You're not escaping any of that. Make sure you shine a light on that. That's what I'm doing. They try to hide in this manner. They try to hide in that manner. They're not hiding under anything. You're going to be prosecuted where you live, where you work, wherever it is you want to remain, because it's the entity engaging in surveillance via the people. 8PRN391, who are very demented psychopaths. I mean, sitting around, pacing around all day long in engineer light. 8CRT056, 8LLE083. 8WMA375, 8TQC691. This is what they're doing right now with vehicles. They're pacing. This is what they're doing inside of the library on foot, walking all around me, pacing all around. 7XIX878, in directed light. Everything that I do on the computer, every move I make, pacing around. They're demons. License 33328W2. And that's impunity. They're going to federal prison. The entity is stalking via their presence, and the entity was stalking all day long, engaging in surveillance in your face. Like I said, as I continuously document, what you're understanding is the grounds of the federal prison, that automatic enhancement. You're already going to federal prison as police engaging in placing somebody under surveillance. You're going to federal prison, period. Okay, that's the policy. You're talking about, first of all, what is enhancing? The people of the state are subject to federal prison too. But I want to be clear, you're going to federal prison, you're done with law enforcement, 80280P1. You are talking about what is also evidence speaking to what is the mind state. Very unbalanced mind state is revealed by those who are stalking me. Multiple shadows are all over the ground. I'm talking to Satan. I'm talking to Satan that's wearing police uniforms. I'm talking to Satan that is with a straight face saying, oh, we're here doing X, Y, and Z. You were flying over my head, following me to this venue in helicopters today. You're talking. I'm dealing with Satan here. This is speaking to the mind state. You're going to prosecute. It is relevant for what federal prison, but this is also relevant for those that need to be placed in mental institutions. You're dealing with Satan. This is not normal. It's not just criminal. These are psychopaths. And while they're following me day and night by helicopter, that's vividly illustrated as well. Psychopaths. Standing in uniform, and that's why let me get their names, because they're going to federal prison. I want you to hear what they call their stalking activity, because it's relevant positioning and light activity. It's an impermissible threat. They're threatening me. And think that they could do a calling at some event with Ontario Town Square. All of those demons at the Ontario Town Square are group stalking. 8XFN795, 8PMR489, 54415Y2, 8ZZG502, 6BIW705, 5MLY940, 8UJE942. This is pacing. They're all demons that are pacing. License 8ZUB979. They are pacing, engaging in ongoing maintenance of presence all around as I take every step. Audible activity. 7HPD324 is stalking and honking the horn like I'm in their way. They're stalking. They're at this intersection in directed light monitoring with the Ontario Police. And they're going to federal prison anyway because they're group stalking right now with the Ontario Police. That's nothing other than what is harassment by a demon who is stalking you. Okay? License plate 7 TIM 201, 6 MIZ 135, I believe. This is the same entity that engaged in assault and battery. That demon walked straight up to me, okay, essentially running, already had on his mind that he was going to attack me. You can tell by his demeanor, his disposition. I'm dealing with Satan in this video at 12:46 a.m. yesterday morning, while the Ontario police is at the same time flying over me by helicopter. The demon-possessed entity does not like the truth being spoken about the fact that the people of the state are stalkers and the people of the state didn't physically attack me. The people of the state are doing so with the Ontario Police Department, who are standing and have remained all day long under an entirely fake sun at the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library. That's why I went, and I want you to hear their names, are going to federal prison. They are representing the issue with the entirety of that Ontario Police Department. You're talking about obsessive stalking? That's exactly what the people of the state are, obsessive stalkers. This is demonic activity, and when I'm talking about obsessive and it's demonic, but it's entirely demented, these people are sick. When I'm capturing images of them, they know that they're being documented. They walk into the bathroom and understand when I'm showing you images of demons in relevant position in the bathroom, the Ontario Police Department are outside monitoring, maintaining heavy duty surveillance. You already saw and heard the helicopter, all right? And I also captured images of what is the entity surrounding the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library. That's a specific threat. While I am publishing very damning evidence that they will never recover from. This is the removal of that police department. And even so, and I'm telling you what the result is before it happens. That's exactly what's going to happen. But this is the pattern. This is the pattern, and it's also relevant to legislation. It's also relevant to how the Ontario Police Department and the people of the state are going to be punished, okay? Because what the pattern is while you document, while you have that direct evidence, this is no conspiracy theory. You're not dealing with somebody, I'm referencing myself, they're not dealing with somebody with the inability to establish what the allegations are. You are surrounded with evidence. You're looking at the evidence as I publish it. You're looking at and listening to the evidence as I create it on my phone. You're monitoring. All right, Satan is very much aware of the evidence against it and knows you're not dealing with somebody that has I don't have an issue, in other words, establishing what is the pattern of conduct. I've let you know what the pattern of conduct is, and I'll surround you with what is evidence and also a legal framework whereby you prosecute Satan, all right, for engaging in that which is unfathomable. Okay, I'll provide vocabulary for it so you can identify what Satan is doing. I'll provide you with what is the analogous laws where you will apply in order to prosecute what Satan is doing. I'll provide you what is the analysis so you can understand what is sexual violence, what would be the unlawful criminal threat to a life as you would apply to any other sort of crime, except for the fact that this is criminal by a government and it's satanic at its core. I'll provide all of that because Satan is going to be prosecuted. Satan's wearing badges that I'm going to snatch off of their chests. All right, and you're talking about what is with a straight face looking at me while directed light is all over the ground. Those are psychopaths. BU8ZZ01, 5ULC082, 7NGB777, 7FML185. These are demons who are pacing. Understand that. This is what they're doing in the library all day long. Pacing around me. 7GBF497, 9APZ629, 79085Y1. They're all going to federal prison. I'm reciting license plates of those who will be subject to serving time in federal prison while they are stalking and obsessively stalking with the Ontario Police Department, including license plate 7SSB106. All right, the entity is engaging in what is presence, relying on the people of the state. They're fully aware of the fact that they're being documented. They also engage in what is physical violence while they detest the notion of being held accountable under the law for your criminal activity. Understand that's a psychopath, okay? And the entity engages in what is posing an ongoing threat while you are in violation of the law, engaging in federal group stalking monitoring, a very serious crime under federal law, and it's going to be treated accordingly. And it is, again, when I'm talking about the police, that's direct conduct. When I'm talking about the people of the state, that's vicarious conduct. Vicarious conduct is group stalking on behalf of the state. It is the state's pattern of conduct. All right, and so these sickos have been engaging in the same exact demonic activity which surrounds me everywhere that I go, in the same way that this unnatural environment, because the sun is not going to remain over the same block, which is exactly what I captured yet again today. When I'm at the Ovid Family Community Library and I'm stepping outside at 5:12 p.m. to show you what is the fake sun that's on the opposite side of that parking garage and not over the U.S. Bank, which I would not be able to see, and it would not be aiming any light underneath that structure of the Ovid Family Community Library entrance. It would not be over my head. It would not be anywhere over in that location if the sun was anywhere near the Upland Public Library, creating light activity through the circulation desk onto the floor, onto the second level. It would be nowhere near what is the Victoria Gardens at 5:19, 7 minutes later, in order to be outside of that parking garage where I'm showing you the fake sun as I'm in there reading the demon-possessed license plates of those third parties at Victoria Gardens, as I documented already. The entity is keeping that fake sun, which is, again, as I pointed out at the B&G Plaza yesterday, while I was there before 8 o'clock in the morning, the entity keeping the fake sun after 5 p.m. I've even documented after 6 p.m., but today I captured it after 5 p.m. because we could just leave it there. It's equally impossible. Speaking to demonic, it's demonic. This is surveillance, and they're surrounding me with their vehicles. They're surrounding me with their lights on in their vehicles. They're stalking me, following me into the Ontario Library after following me and stalking me all night at the museum, and then engaging in what is remaining there upon my exit. Understand Satan's intent to threaten all the way around. And you're going to none other than use that evidence to prosecute them. They're going to federal prison. That's exactly why you heard them read their names. That's why I did that. They're going to federal prison. Because that's exactly what that is accomplishing. You are engaging in criminal monitoring. I even captured what are multiple shadows and possible light activity. The sun is not remaining over the same block. In other words, at the B&G Plaza yesterday, as I documented, before 8 o'clock in the morning, and as I stated, the sun would not be in a direction which is north, to be on the opposite side of the Ontario Town Square townhomes, to be on the opposite side of Hope Boulevard, okay? Understand, C Street is north of Hope Boulevard. All right, you're talking about steps away. And the fake sun remains there after 5:12 p.m. And I'm at the B&G Plaza, and it's over my head also there as before 8 o'clock in the morning. That's not the sun. It's also not the sun while the fake sun is captured on the opposite side of that same parking garage structure where you see in the video, where you see the pictures that I posted on my website, and you see the fake sun in the same position that it was at this morning at 8:05 a.m. I told you to pay attention. All the entity does is engages in the conduct of keeping the fake sun in alignment with my face over the top of my head, and then alignment with my face in the evening, as though it's rising at its peak and then setting, while it keeps it perfectly in alignment with me from the beginning to the end of the day. And that is also vividly illustrated while I remain at one address. And that's exactly what you see. 8:05 a.m., you see that picture, you see the next picture of approximately 5:21 p.m. It's in the same position it was at 8:05. I was on the opposite side of the street, it's over the parking garage. Okay, so at 5:21 p.m. when I take that picture, it's over the parking garage. Alrighty, and in addition, I take the video at 5:12 p.m. You're looking at what is the threat that the Ontario Police Department are waging. They're engaged in heavy-duty surveillance, and this is the pattern. This is what I was going to state earlier. The more I prosecute, because that's what this is. This is a prosecution. This is a full-throttle exposure. Satan gets even more obsessive. Okay, that's why they're going to federal prison as well. That's why. That's why you're going to create legislation. But that is the conduct of the psychopath. That's the threat to your life. That's the impermissible threat, okay? And this is the Ontario Police Department, who you hear them with grins on their faces, okay, smiling, cooperating, and you should be. I mean, go ahead, what else are you going to do? You're surrounded by evidence, so I know you don't want to sit there and watch all the videos of the Ontario Police Department stalking me by helicopter. We don't want to do that. I know you don't want to do that. But you have what is, again, a blatant disregard, and you necessarily have to disregard and continue with what is, again, their form. I have literally obliterated what is the form. There is no form in reality. You're talking about what is a fallacy. Okay, so for such a time as this, I'm showing you, first of all, there was never any form. It is a matter of common sense that this is not the sun, this is not the natural environment. This is also not sunlight. I'm referencing directed light. This is also not normal light activity, having your shadow surrounding your person. All right, this is also speaking to what is occurring while you're stalking by helicopters in that unnatural environment. This is a very demented pattern of conduct. It's federal group stalking and monitoring. You do not have any form. All you can do is stand there and let me take your picture and ask you your name while you're engaging in criminal conduct, which is not exposed. It's not a secret at all. It's not a secret at all. So while you sit there engaging in that, that's an impermissible threat. And you're going to sit in federal prison for that. All right? And they're also violent sex offenders while my panties are down, engaging in stalking with the people of the state who are engaging in pacing all around an engineered light, pacing in and out of the bathroom, the entity amplifying impossible audible activity inside of the bathroom while my panties are down. This is Satan that's engaging in that demonic pattern of creating noise around me and doing so while my panties are down, while bodily functions are underway. That's a very demented sex offender. Okay, engaging in what is terrorism. Demonic activity is terrorism by the entity. They're doing this in the bathroom while my panties are down, while the Ontario Police is hovering all around the Ontario Ovid Family Community Library, all around me with light activity all day long under a fake sun and in directed light.
All right, this is Satan engaging in what is that setup? That setup for its own demise. They're going to federal prison. But like I said, it is currently 9:25 p.m. and this is upon my exit of the Ovid Family Community Library. And this is the same routine by Satan as it witnesses my documentation, which it is very hostile to the truth that I speak, hostile to the literally the you're talking about what is inferior. You're inferior with regard to my ability to surround you. And this is not ego. I'm telling you the reality, the personality of Satan. Satan is mad because it is unintelligent. Satan is mad because it loses. Satan is mad because I am intelligent, because I am able to speak to what nobody's supposed to be able to know about or suspect or even have anyone bear witness for or listen to, because you're automatically supposed to be written off as crazy. No, that's not what's happening with Erica Lorraine Spencer. I'm the one that's going to tell you the truth. You're going to listen and you're going to understand. I'm going to make sure you understand. Okay, because this is for your own good as well. It is for such a time as this, for whatever purpose. You're supposed to know. That's why it's occurring. Understand that. This is why it's happening, and this is why this happened to me in order for me to share it, because for whatever reason, you are supposed to know. I'm nothing but a messenger. You are supposed to know about this presence of Satan, about the ability to identify the presence of Satan, and also the criminal conduct that the demon possessed. It's no longer a secret demon possession. You can know it. And this is relevant to what is any sort of criminal investigation, by the way, like I stated earlier. When you're dealing with criminals, and it's something that you'll just know in the back of your mind. It's in your account, if you will, of ongoing relevant aspects of any case. You know when you're dealing with demons. Noted, all right? That just stays in the back of your mind. You're dealing with demons, you're dealing with liars, psychopaths. Okay, you're talking about what is literally hollow beings who will say and do anything, who are literally relying on the outward exterior of things, relying on their race or relying upon their bank account, how much money they have, any influence that they bear, relying upon any physical attractiveness, or relying upon anything that Satan can use, relying upon a physical handicap, okay, relying upon anything. This is how Satan conducts itself. But so, like I said, this is relevant to everyone, in addition to witnessing me prosecute in a federal court, in a tribunal, what is demonic, Satan itself, who is acting through a people. And these psychopaths all day long, as the same way these are demons that are pacing around in vehicles. Those demons are pacing around on foot, pushing around carts, slamming around books, the entity creating just random boom noises. Even as I wear headphones and listen to the loud sound of rain, the entity goes out of its way to make it so loud so that it is a disruption to what I'm listening to. That's an exceptionally loud volume in order to do that. The entity is engaging in what is ongoing harassment and intimidation, and doing so in a library, where by the way, they are engaging in what is harassment, asking me to be quiet while I document them, and they're demons stalking with loud noise all day long, stalking with noise. Loud booms inside of the library. It's supposed to be quiet in there. Like I said, they're not quiet. It is uncharacteristic because it's demonic. All right, they are forced to show themselves while they engage in their ritualistic stalking conduct, while they engage in their witchcraft. They're forced to show themselves. And you know them as a matter of fact. You know them absolutely by what they do. And I've told you what they've done. The pattern of what they do. I told you what they do, excuse me. It's a pattern of conduct. All right, and that pattern of conduct is achieving criminal monitoring. And so anyway, like I said, this is upon my exit of the Ovid Family Community Library. I want to document the Ontario Police, who you see in images and on video, engaging in what is surveillance around me all day long by helicopter, and then those demons using vehicles to surround with light activity, which is communication of a threat. Okay, this is a communication of a threat by an entity that is hostile to its inferiority and the fact that I am heavily documenting and exposing them. And they're listening to the consequences for their criminal activity. They're listening to me tell them, you're going to federal prison. You are. The more you engage in harassment, the more you engage in what is ongoing terrorism, the more you engage in what is fictitious exercise of authority under the law, you want to engage in kidnapping, everything you're doing, you're going to federal prison and you're not getting out. You're talking about what you're already surrounded with evidence. So you're talking about an animal that's surrounded, okay, and an animal that just engages in what is ongoing raging conduct, and it's never going to get out of that cage. You're not getting out. That's what Satan is. You're not getting out, but you're talking about what is just continuously running its head up against that fence or up against that wall to its own demise. You're hurting yourself. But I just want to be clear, this is necessary. Even as Satan does that, it gets it to a point to where you need to understand the necessity of the legislation, the very legislation that I advocate. I'm not being hyperbolic. I don't have to make up. I'm not creating it based on what is some hypothetical. This is one that I'm referencing myself, I have been subject to it, and I am also advocating on behalf of the ordinary target individual that may not have the ability to withstand being stalked day and night by demon-possessed law enforcement agencies and kidnapping and theft of all of your property, while they also want to try to psychologically torment you, stalking you all the time with helicopters. It's nothing other than a nuisance. I'm going to prosecute Satan. Satan cannot touch me. Satan cannot penetrate, cannot touch me whatsoever. I am advocating on behalf of those who may not be in that sort of position to withstand that. Okay? So it's absolutely necessary, everything that I am pointing out to you. This is the pattern. This is what these psychopaths do. This is what their criminal conduct looks like, consists of. This is what they're doing. And they do it with a smile on their face, or they do it while they're acting professional or courteous. Those are psychopaths. They're demons. Okay, and ongoing evidence is showing the demented environment where they're acting as though they're absolutely normal. And they're actually not acting as though they're absolutely normal, because they're sitting around pacing around me all day long. Pacing around me all day long, obsessed. Obsessed. And where do you see that obsession? The very Ontario Police Department. But it's not just Ontario. When I go to Montclair, what do you see? The same exact obsessive stalking. When I go to Fontana, what did you see? The same ongoing obsessive stalking. And when Satan gets scared, what does Satan do? Starts making up lies and summoning the stalker. That's why they're going to federal prison. They're engaged in an ongoing cycle. They're engaged in an ongoing cycle. So the entity is engaging in what is to its own demise. Everybody's sitting in federal prison. And when I say everybody, yeah, they're going to federal prison. And it is currently, like I said, I have left the Ovid Family Community Library, so I just needed to document that. More third parties who are going to sit in federal prison for that criminal conduct. And it is 9:32, and I'm referencing also that little, well, she's not little, but the crusty-kneed, banana-shaped, third-party group stalker inside of the bathroom. This is harassment. This is audible activity in a bathroom while she's stalking with the Ontario Police Department, who engaged in literally the conduct of a psychopath. You hear an immediate pivot of her attitude. But like I said, it was feigned in the first place. This is a minion that's stalking me in the bathroom. Okay, you are so concerned about what's going on in my panties. Okay, that's why you're in there. And it's evidence of the fact that you're a demon and you're in there. And you're a third-party demon-possessed minion in there. While the Ontario police are under the fake sun at 10:58 in the morning, while I stand at the same entrance of the Ovid Family Community Library where I stood at 5:21 p.m. in the afternoon. By the way, at 10:58 a.m., if you did not already research, when I'm telling you the time, reference my documentation. The entity is surrounded with evidence. It's not the sun that's over me in Fontana, California, while I'm inside of the computer lab of the Fontana Lewis Library, and the fake sun is directly over my head outside of that window. Well, it's hanging over my head at the Ovid Family Community Library, while the Ontario police are also stalking, terrorizing with directed light. It's a demon driving that vehicle that I capture in pictures. Then they're crossing path in that vehicle. This is demonic pacing. And the fake sun's right over my head. I took those pictures at 10:58 a.m. I'm inside of the bathroom documenting on podcast what is harassment by the demon-possessed Ontario Police Department. Sex offenders, because the P.O.C. is occurring in a bathroom inside of the private space. A demon. Okay, who does not have a waist, just like you heard, and begins trying to, I guess you're trying to, you can't insult me, you're stalking me. You do not have a life. You should try to find one, including your waistline. Okay, while you're in the bathroom with crusty knees stalking me. So while you're monitoring documentation, listen to that, and those are facts. Those are facts. You're a demon, you're shaped like a banana, you don't have a waistline, and your knees are crusty. Okay, while you're stalking me in the bathroom and you're mad because while I'm not talking to you, I'm documenting you. That's what Satan was doing. That's why you witnessed that pivot in speech. Okay, our conversation, our little small talk, and really I wasn't talking to her. I just posed a question. I want you to hear her voice. She's group stalking in the bathroom. But nonetheless, she's there, whatever. I resume talking on my phone, and all of a sudden, if you got a problem, this is a psychopath. A psychopath, and I immediately want to point out this psychopath has crusty knees. Okay, so like I said, this is the pattern of conduct that is ceaselessly underway. These are demons, a demon-possessed population. And as I'm documenting that conduct, you're documenting the entirety of an entity. So it is currently, by the way, 9:34 p.m. And at 10:58 in the morning, the sun is remaining over me at that venue where the sun is not possibly outside of the window of the Fontana Lewis Library. Okay, that's how you know the Ontario Police Department are demons, and they're also stalking. But you also know that because the entity was flying over and following me with helicopter. Again, in the same way that the Ontario International Airport, using demons who are flying commercial airline planes following me. That's what they're doing now in directed light on behalf of the Ontario Police Department. Okay, so you're necessarily subject to what is federal prison. You're talking about those who are in positions to fly these planes. Those are who are in positions engaging in what is the use of these airports. they're going to find themselves sitting in federal prison with very serious federal crimes as a sex offender. The entity is stalking with planes. It's the entity is doing the same thing the Ontario police are doing with helicopters. The P.O.C. is to engage in group stalking via aircraft. Okay, so the commercial airline planes, this is vicarious conduct. It's the people of the state. The helicopters, that's the state, that's the police department, that's direct conduct. Understand how that's underway, okay? And you're talking about the same exact P.O.C. while the demons are pacing in and out of the bathroom, pacing even outside of the bathroom in direct light. The entity is engaging in what is amplified audible activity, the Ontario International Airport or whatever airport, the entity's pattern of conduct is to stalk with planes and helicopters. All right, and that is the ongoing documentation. I don't have to sit up and remind Satan about how I'm documenting everybody else while it engages in the P.O.C. It's got a lot of surprises that it's in store for when I prosecute. It is currently 9:36 p.m., and this is P.O.C. Alrighty, Guerrero and John Gonzalez, those two that I document at the Ontario Police. Like I stated, I want you to remember them. Their names are clearly stated on my podcast, and this is the Ontario Police following me from the Ovid Family Community Library, and that's what they were doing, stalking at the Ovid Family Community Library, and all I did was record their names. They're going to federal prison. They were stalking, just like they are continuously stalking, they being the Ontario Police Department, engaging in what is group stalking and monitoring. It is 9:59 p.m., and that's why you are understanding what is demonic activity, what are the elements of monitoring, and understanding what is the criminal pattern of conduct. They were engaged in criminal summoning. Criminal summoning is nothing other than what is a method of criminal surveillance, an excuse to stalk all day, all night in relevant position. That's what they're doing with their vehicle lights, engaging in what is an tactics of intimidation while they know I'm documenting them. And those two officers in particular, I'm prosecuting the Ontario Police and the state of California, but those two officers in particular who you hear on my podcast at 9:02 p.m., they're going to federal prison. Flying directly over me at the with a helicopter. This is the Ontario Police. This is demonic patrolling. This is what they're doing inside of the Ovid Family Community Library all day long, in direct light, pacing all around me, walking all around in engineered light. This is demonic conduct that the Ontario Police Department is engaging in, flying in circles over me all night long. They're doing it in engineered light. That's impossible light activity on the wall. I'm subject to an ongoing molestation. I'm going to prosecute for a sex offense. And this is terrorism while they're stalking by helicopter, and they're also engaging in what is terrorism, practicing this satanic stalking conduct, flying in circles, pacing above me in the sky space, monitoring. All right, and the entity's not going anywhere. They're steady trying to avoid being captured on video. I have hundreds of video documentation. This is showing what is the obsessive entity that is engaging in what is demonic conduct. That's what the Ovid Family Community Library, that's what Carlos and Jessica, that's what Natasha and the other Natasha, that's what Kaylin, that's what Greg, there were two Gregs there today. That's what all of them are doing. They're stalking. The Ontario Police follow me to the venue where they were stalking me inside of the venue on behalf of this entity that then follows me to the museum where I'm sleeping, flying in circles. Those are demons pacing around in engineer light. It is currently, by the way, 10:34 p.m. This is demonic obsession. This is the Ontario Police, and this is exposing what is public corruption. All right, and while they are engaging in stalking, the people of the state surround. And just like you saw the other night, a demon that was already stalking in relevant position marches right up to me and engages in physically harming me, okay, attacking me on behalf of those demons who are still stalking tonight. When I say they're going to federal prison, they're going and they're not getting out. This is demonstrating what is the impunity of those officers who I documented by name tonight. They are not the only ones going to federal prison. They're the latest example, a specific example. I got their names and their badge numbers. They are being documented right now. They're sex offenders monitoring me all day while my panties are down. They are the ones engaging in what is an assault and battery, as is documented on video, and they are engaging in what is an impermissible threat. The Ontario International Airport is also using airplanes and stalking, and Union Pacific is a means of ongoing audible activity. Look at the light activity. This is in large shadows on the grass, impossible light, and then you have what are shadows over here. That's the Ontario Police. They're demons. This is demonic, flying in circles over me in engineer light. This is P.O.C.